Welcome back, everybody, to the Barony of Olives. We're going to jump right into our game tonight. We don't have too many announcements. We want to get to our episode 2 pretty eagerly. So before we do that, though, welcome back. This is our second episode. StreamPunks diving into Changeling the Dreaming. I'm very excited. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned into our first episode, and we hope you enjoy this one. Do we have any announcements from you folks before we jump into tonight's story? Yes, Eliza.
Yes. Adriana and I are both going to be at GaryCon. I'm going to be virtual, and Adriana?
I will be there in person.
Yay!
Yay!
I'm running 3 games, and one of them has 2 seats left, but the others are full, and there's wait lists. What? Oh, snap. I feel special. So if you want to play with me and you're going to do the virtual, go get a pass. And there's one D&D game that I'm running that still has a couple seats left. But yeah, that's it.
You want to play with Elisa. She's amazing. You want to play with her.
She's true.
You want to be in an underwater party. That's what we're doing. Underwater D&D. I'm tackling it. Before I even knew Call of the Netherdeep was coming out, I've been working on this thing. So I'm very excited for Call of the Netherdeep too. So yeah.
Nice.
Play all the
Right
things.
As you've seen, we are down both Bonnie and Gina tonight. They will be back next week. We'll have our full party finally next week. The whole Motley will be here next week. So stay tuned for that. And any other announcements then before we jump into yes, I see some anticipation going on. Yes, Sam Plev?
We have an Adriana. We have an Adriana.
This is
and
true.
tonight we get to meet her.
Yeah.
And play Changeling with her. And I'm excited.
Let's go ahead and begin tonight's story of the Barony of Olives. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and dive into the small city of Point Caseta, located in south central coastline of California, also known as the Kingdom of Pacifica here in the World of Darkness. In Changeling Society, everything from Washington, Oregon, and California, the entire coastline, the east coastline of the United States is the Kingdom of Pacifica, home to the changelings of this side of the country who live here. Tonight, of course, though, we focus on that small city that the mortals of this realm know as Point Caseta. To you all, this is the Barony of Olives. And it's been a very eventful few weeks for all of you, particularly for you, Gera. But we'll get to that in just a moment. Because the saning ceremony has happened and the introductions into the court has happened. And now we have ourselves a Holly and we have ourselves a Skeeta. The Motley is formed, though it's still a bit of ragtag and a bit loose. Having formed a Motley, no one really told y'all how this works. What are you supposed to do now? I mean, sure, you're all a collection of changelings and it's good to have friends, But are you expected to attend like meetings, or is there like a movie night? Like, how does this work exactly? How does the Motley hang out? Like, you guys also have your lives. And even though all changelings are welcome at the Freehold at all times, you can head over to the Freehold. But there's a coffee shop you meet up at, but there's the question that kind of lingers in the air. Like, what does it mean to be in a Motley specifically? Is it just a formal recognition that we're all best buds? These are the questions that have been kicked around a whole lot. And one of the things that's helped move the uneasiness from sort of that sort of nervous, self-conscious energy of like, okay, so we're a Motley. One of the things that's helped move that away is the focus that's being put on Holly, who is the newest member of the Barony of Olives and quite the talk of the town. The changelings of the Barony all seem to be somewhat, let's say, unsubtle in how often they look for an excuse to have a conversation with the merfolk who has come to land. And a lot of your hideouts and haunts that you have particularly enjoyed, Skeeta, including your coffee shop over at Sal's, has been invaded by Kithian like yourself, who have just decided to come in and try to start small talk and ask a lot of questions about what it's like living underwater. And can you talk to fish? And have you seen Finding Nemo yet? Because I think you're going to like it. Like ridiculous things. It's like the new kid in school, where everyone this week is really all about the new kid. This week, it's a status thing getting to know the new kid. And it's been a little overwhelming, Holly, because everything is new to you. Everything is new to you. You are encountering the Kithian for the very first time outside of your realm. You've heard of the changelings that live on land. But now you've seen a troll, the big, mighty trolls that walk around. You've seen the hospitable boggans that are very engaging and sociable. You've gotten to meet a few red caps that have attitude, is to put it nicely, and teeth and jaws that are very similar to things that you see swimming around in the ocean, but on people. And the more you get to know some of the changelings around here, what you get a sense of is they're just as varied and diverse as any ocean life, all coming with their own unique things that they are bringing forth to the Barony. It's a lot, though, because it's not just the changelings you're starting to have to adapt to. It's cars and stoplights and radios and ice cream and movie theaters, volleyballs. What is this realm? You are dazzled. And to make things even more interesting, it's very difficult not to play with your chair. This thing is awesome. And you also notice that it's helped you move around on land much more efficiently than these bipedal creatures that you've seen at least one person trip off of a curb. And there's this sort of sense of like, but why doesn't everyone use this? Like, there's a bit of a sense of absurdity in how people move. You get to swim around, basically. It feels very similar to the way you move through the water. All of this is to say is that you have been nonstop struck with stimuli again and again and again and again and again. After some conversations with your Motley, you found a day during the week where you've visited, you're coming up on land to visit again. And it's a day when everyone is pretty much preoccupied, save for Skeeta, who actually has some time. It's an excellent opportunity to just engage one at a time and maybe ask some questions and have a more personal conversation with one of the changelings that you are to get closer to, who's a member of your Motley. Plus, of all of the members of your kith, Skeeta seems to be the one that has her finger on the pulse of what goes on in the world. Like, she seems a little savvy to how mortals like to act and how to deal with them. Whereas Ashling is a little standoffish, but not in a negative way, just doesn't like to engage if she doesn't have to. And you're not sure what Ruby's deal is, but everything is goofy around Ruby for some reason. And
Ruby says she knows exactly what's going on.
She
and I should listen to her.
Yes. Ruby's made some pretty, in fact, Ruby has told you some pretty fantastic things that you are going to have to follow up on. You had no idea so many things were true about land life, and that Ruby is as big of a deal as Ruby is. Like, it just keeps piling on and piling on and piling on. I'll leave it to Skeeta whether or not Skeeta has kind of clued Holly in on whether or not Ruby has been less than forthcoming with how they interact. But we're going to begin today off, and this is something I want to work out with you, Sam. So we know that Holly has a secret place. We'll say that. So let's work out this is one of the things that you and I talked about when we were coming up with Holly, is the emergence from your secret place to engaging with the folk of the land. There are some logistical questions.
Yes, there are. Where do I park?
What's that?
Where do I park?
Yes, exactly. We're trying to figure out very much the Back to the Future question of where you stash the DeLorean when you've got to engage with
This came
town.
up with me when I have jumped in the ocean. Where do you park?
Where do you park? So, thankfully, the Barony of Olives is a town that takes these things into account, particularly because for 3 months out of the year, there is Paralympic training that happens in this town. And a lot of the times, particularly on the beach and in the city pool, there is accessibility where you don't normally find it. So, aside from walkways that actually lead throughout the treacherous thing called sand, and that can be found that can be found on the beach, I'm curious if I would love to know where you what do you have in mind for this?
Well, I did think a little about it, and Holly, narrative notwithstanding, and they're trying very hard. They're trying very hard. They're trying very, very hard.
Yes.
Holly, notwithstanding, comes from a certain sort of background where they would be inclined to prevail upon offers, because the Baron offered the use of their balefire and of that space. I think that is where they would like to take their parking spot.
That is perfect.
That is their swim up.
Yes, that would be perfect. So in which case, as per request of the Baron, every morning that you decide to emerge from the Pacific Ocean and emerge to Point Reed, where the name of the Freehold, always waiting for you is Sir Agalia Athscatha. Sir Agalia, she waits with your approach with anticipation. She has been very, very reserved every time you have emerged from the ocean and have pulled yourself up onto the dock. She has had your device waiting for you, as well as a certain knocker who's ready to take you ashore on his boat. You're still trying to get used to him, but you were assured that this is how knockers talk. Knockers are very unusual, and that they tend to be incredibly foul-mouthed and somewhat irritable towards everyone. Almost
worked out which words are the bad ones yet.
What's that?
I haven't worked out which words are the bad ones yet.
Yeah. Well, Sir Agalia has tried to fill you in as best as possible, but you can tell that she is somewhat reserved. The troll seems to be a very much someone who exudes an enormous amount of respect for even those they do not like. In other words, they carry themselves with honor. That much is apparent to you. And she has kind of tipped you off a little bit, but not through actual word. It seems like Sir Agalia, every time it's come up in conversation in the past week and a half, Sir Agalia will just do little things that you've picked up on. For example, make sort of a odd groaning noise when you mention the name of Redcaps, and then will say something along the lines of, yes, they are an important member of the barony, and they can be challenging, And she'll let that linger in the air for a moment, and then she'll say, "It is in their nature, and we welcome them. They are our kin, and they can be challenging." And she'll let that linger in the air for a moment, and then she'll say, "But challenge makes us into better people, and they try very hard to make me into the best knight that I can be." And she kind of leaves it at that. But everything you've gotten from her so far, Holly, is that the knight who calls herself the right hand of the Baron, she is someone who, despite her frustrations with some of the Kithian that live here, has a deep, almost endearing well of admiration and protection, like protectiveness, to all of the changelings of the Barony, even the ones that she doesn't like. So there is a sense, even when she's talking about the red caps, you get the sense from her irritation that there is still like a mother's love. There is still this sense of like, ah, yes, my problem child. Oh, I hope I see them tonight, that bastard. Kind of mentality that she has. And she has availed herself to you whenever, by order of the Baron, because she is one of the very few people that know the truth of your circumstance. She has availed herself to you at all times and has told you that, by order of the Baron, that she is at your service and that it is a part of her oath as a troll and a knight and a servant of the Baron to ensure your safety and to make sure that you acclimate and absorb everything you need to. We're going to start today's game off. It's been a week and a half, and this is all the information that has been dumped on your head since that first night in the Freehold, where you were introduced to the Barony. And you are just now moving up the ramp onto the dock and seeing about 40 feet away or so, Skeeta is here waiting for you just as the two of you planned. Today is a day with just Skeeta. The two of you are going to be able to just hang out and get to know each other. And hopefully you'll have more days like this with the others. But for now, it's Skeeta Day. And Lord Amar, who behind you says, "Have a good day, fish kid."
Thank you, my lord.
And he steps back down and just kind of tips his hat a little bit and starts humming as he starts kicking the side of the boat as the engine goes, sputters water, and begins to pull away from the dock.
It's very strange seeing them from the other side.
Boats?
Yeah. The
or
boats.
knockers?
Both. But not a lot of knockers go in the water.
Oh, I see what you mean. The other side. Oh, yes. There's a whole world of boat above the water.
Most of it.
Right.
Thank you for hanging out today.
It is my absolute pleasure, Your Majesty. Skeeta does another. She just dissolves into giggles at the end of her deep curtsy. I'm sorry, I've just been wanting to say that this whole time.
It's not like that. It's not. We're supposed to be quiet.
I know. People will think I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I have a question for the both of you.
Yes.
We see Holly as we have seen Holly here in our overlay, just like we see Skeeta, the Pisky, and the Merfolk. But what does the Autumn World see from Holly?
Holly definitely has silvery wavy hair, not fins, and chunky auburn streaks through it, not stripes. They definitely have shiny reflective leggings with the shape of scales. The tail, they definitely have a sheer iridescent top. You're not a mermaid. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
All right. So, out of curiosity, then, if we could, because we are still getting to know her, what does the Autumn World see when they see Skeeta?
Yes. Good question. Skeeta is a caramel-skinned Black Latina woman. She looks like me. She has actually a little bit more of an angular bob to her short blonde locks. Maybe like really chin length, truly chin length. Since this is her day off, she's wearing what you might call sport leisure. I don't know if it's called that. I don't know. But I imagine it's like what Italian business soccer moms wear. So she's wearing like a little short sleeve mock turtleneck that's all white. And then it's also like a little bit of like Kerry Washington and Scandal. So she has like these like track pants that are probably all white. Let's just make it all white. And then very posh, cute running shoes that she's not going to run in.
But you clearly look like a woman who has some money on her.
Yeah, she looks like really put together in the Autumn World as well as in the Fae World. But she looks more like a business soccer mom in the Autumn World.
The two of you make your way down the dock with the whole day ahead of you. This is going to be an interesting little adventure because for all the things that have been flooded upon poor Holly ever since they got here to the Barony, today is the day where they're actually going to be able to experience some of it, as opposed to just getting it flooding towards them at all times. Exactly. The overstimulation. Your first day ever at Comic-Con. It's just so much. You're actually going... Think of this as a day where you actually get to go to a panel and talk to somebody. You're actually going to get to experience a little bit of this in a slower, more absorbing way. And the two of you make your way down the dock, unaware that about 6 miles away on the outskirts of the Barony of Olives, there is a very beautiful campus with 2 Victorian-styled looking manors. 2 buildings, one being a very large, I would say clearly owned by a very wealthy either benefactor or company, a 4-story mansion that stretches. I would say it's a compound more than anything else, made out of the beauty of sort of like that late Victorian aesthetic, though looking quite new. The impulse of the rich here in California to build something that looks completely out of place that probably should be somewhere in Europe.
That's a word.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate thing that happens here quite often. This campus, as it were, is currently filled with a collection of new students in their early to mid 20s. Some of them young enough to be in just now leaving their teens, 18, 19 years old. And at about this point, pulling up to this congregation that has started to gather around this large swath of people, these autumn people talking to each other, all of these mortals having conversations about what's happening next. We see driving up to this long, soft gravel driveway is a black Rolls Royce. 2017 Rolls Royce comes rolling in, the car that picked her up from the airport and is now dropping her off. And the reflection of the name of the institute reflecting into the glossy black doors of this Rolls Royce, the words Imogen Gale's College of Etiquette. As it comes to a stop, the driver emerges from his driver's side, goes to the back after the trunk is popped, and opens the door for you. Gera, you're finally getting a whiff of the sea air here in the Barony of Olives.
Thank you very much.
gets your bags, sets them down next to you.
Very appreciated. So I suppose this is it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And from what I understand, and he goes into his suit and says, "I'm to give you this. It's going to help set you get you started." And he hands it over to you, a little pamphlet of like a welcoming pamphlet that shows orientation day today.
Right.
So,
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
ma'am. And without another word, the driver heads back to the driver's seat, closes his door as he gets inside and starts up the engine once more.
She just glances at this overbearing school and just heaves a deep sigh.
4 stories is ridiculous. The idea of something that looks Victorian having more than 2 floors is absurd unless it's going to be a small palace. It looks like whoever designed this place got a taste of what a good 4-story mansion might look like and decided to throw the Victorian at it. Being from the place where the Victorian era comes from, you can't help but take a snapshot in your mind that this is just another American imitation of probably what some rich bastard saw in a movie. Meanwhile, the students that are gathered in the courtyard that are swarming around and giggling and talking to one another all seem quite thrilled at how beautiful this landscape is. And just from looking at each and every one of them, you don't feel that far from home. This place is filled with the privileged and the rich.
Right then. She just grabs her stuff and shoos away any people trying to assist her, and she's like, no, I got this, thank you so much. Right this way, correct?
Few people kind of guide you over to the orientation area where you see a couple of staff members talking to people, but a small gathering of like chairs has been set up, and just a slight incline where you can see a microphone stand has been placed up for orientation. There's a couple of people on stage, and that is when you get your first glance at the dean, Everett Kane, 65-year-old man who looks like every other 65-year-old rich white dude. He's wearing the suit. He has thinning, just immaculate combed gray, almost platinum white hair. Definitely looks like he's used to people doing exactly what he tells them to do. The staff is all kind of lining up at the side, and he's going through some papers. He's saying something, but go ahead. Let's do this. Let's have you roll. I'm going to have you roll your first roll of the game, Gira.
Yes, okay.
So I'm going to have you roll perception plus empathy.
Okay.
So add up those dots into the dice. You're going to roll those 10-sided dice, and you want 6 or higher on those dice. And for every die you get that's 6 or higher, that's a success.
Cool. So perception and empathy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So add all the dots together.
Mm-hmm. Each dot represents a D10 you're going to roll.
All right. Oh boy. Let me double check a stat real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Seems. All right. Here we go. Oh my god.
How many successes did you get?
God.
This is either very good or very bad.
I know.
I literally got 1 success. Is that good?
Did you roll any ones?
Oh, actually, I did roll a 1.
Then you got 0 successes.
Oh.
Ones eat successes. So, thankfully, though, that because you rolled a success, you didn't botch. But the impression you get from looking at this guy, Gira, as you kind of examine, kind of like Squint your eyes, kind of eyeball him for a second. He's hard to read. You don't know how to feel about him. He's just a little difficult to read. But he takes to the microphone and just does this. Doesn't call out, just does this. Like he expects everyone to be watching him and to calm and quiet down. And Gira, unfortunately, to your dismay, everyone does. Everyone immediately starts growing quiet as he does this. And he goes, a formal orientation will be taking place this evening. In the meantime, I just wanted to take this moment to welcome everyone here. And he continues to drone on, Gira. You're gazing at him for a moment. And there's this sense of, it's difficult to describe. It almost feels like you're standing close to a window that has cold air blowing by. You're not being touched by the cold air, but it's enough to know that the temperature drops. It's kind of this feeling of like, as you're listening to him talk, it takes you a moment. You're still getting used to this. You're a Chloricon, but you're still kind of getting into the feel of things. And looking around, you don't see any trace of the dreaming around here, and it starts to dawn on you slowly as these kids are all listening, these people your age, stone-faced, everyone just kind of looking straight forward and listening to him talk. Gaze back at him and begin to realize that sort of cool feel. It's not so much like a cold wind, but it's sort of like an absence of, and it starts to sink in. This dude is swimming in banality. He is a complete detach. You feel like just looking at him, this guy has a banality rating that's up there. He is probably the most rigid squasher of dreams. It's enough to make your skin crawl a little bit. And even though you weren't able to get a sense empathically of who he is, it sets the uneasiness being a changeling around somebody who just so is distant from the dreaming the way this man is. It's enough to cause mild discomfort just listening to him talk. Indeed, it would almost seem like the autumn world is a little more pronounced around him. Colors aren't quite as bright as they are to you around him. Things seem a little more boring and drab. They seem a little more monotone. He's just going through the motions as he just belts out these words on the paper. Not even sure he gives a damn about what he's saying. It almost seems passionless. It's off-putting, to say the least. And this is the dean at this place.
She mutters under her breath, I've got to get out of here.
So we cut to people being led to their dorm rooms. The dorm rooms are in an immaculate building, same as the university itself. The university, it's a college for etiquette. You're not entirely sure what kind of people you're going to find here in the United States that are taking this college before they move on. You're not sure, but you've managed to catch a little bit of some of the conversations that are happening around you. Children whose parents are diplomats, just rich people who are planning on going to law school but are going here first. For what reason, you're not sure. But various people who are interested in being dignitaries or who are interested in being what you do find is like there are some people here that are coming to the school to learn etiquette because they plan on being like an officer in a corporation that actually specializes in ASL and wants to learn office etiquette as well as everything else to be able to communicate properly. There are some noble reasons to be here. There are some people here that clearly, and maybe I'll leave it to you, Adriana, to tell me if this is Guerra's people or not. But there are some people here that are clearly just blowing off their parents and are just like getting away with murder. They're just swiping parents' money and coming up with excuses to not have to go to college. They're ducking it. They're blowing off their parents. They're blowing off their responsibilities. And they're like, I'll go to etiquette school. Because you're getting a lot of conversations of people who are absolutely planning on fucking around. You've already heard some of the whispers that etiquette school is going to be fun. You're led to your room. Going inside the room, it is obnoxiously large. You have your own kitchen. You have a bedroom and a common area. This is not a typical dorm room for kids, that's for damn sure, or anybody your age. This is rich folk. You're kind of looking around. 4-post bed, nice silk sheets, like big black curtains on the walls. Everything is very nice and pretty here. And oh, I may have forgotten to mention, there is what looks like a goblin with his feet kicked up on the coffee table, smoking a cigar and flipping through a housing magazine as you enter and close the door. Deep green skin and brilliant gold eyes. And he's just muttering to himself, like, I would never fucking choose those curtains. That's ridiculous. Look at this. Oh, why would you put designs on that? That's ridiculous. Oh my God. And stands up and says, ha, 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 ha. You're here. Hello. Welcome. Yes. Maybe close the door if you
Right.
so we can start.
Okay. All right. And Yara just closes the door.
Yeah.
Places her bags down like in a heap, and they're very heavy, and some really loud metallic jingles from one of the big duffel bags. Just
Okay.
Never mind that. So what was so funny?
Oh, he just holds up a like it looks like an old issue of Good Housekeeping, and he just goes, "It's just humans are so in love with pastels," and he just tosses it aside, and he goes, "It's disgusting. You need vibrancy, shock colors. You need to be like, you need a purple that kicks you in the balls the moment you walk in the door. None of this, like, anyway, forget it. It's a personal thing of mine. Forget it. I like interior design. It tastes better.
To each their own.
Tastes better than typical design. Exterior design is usually woody. It's got brick and you get your woods and whatnot, but interior design, I don't know about you, Chloricon. And he stands up on the table and just says, but you haven't lived until you've had a nice mouthful of some velvet curtains. You know what I'm saying? Like the thick kind. The kind that's got dust on it. You can breathe it out of your nose like you're an angry dragon. Just comes out like puffs. It's the best fucking thing.
I will have to pass on that, but I'll be sure to hold some for you if I ever come across them.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm here on behalf of the Baron. I knew you were coming in today. Didn't want to make any fuss, so sent me. And I've been waiting here for you ever since. And
please don't make
once I do him this favor, I don't have to do any more. So I just got to make sure you get to Point Reed sometime tonight. So if you want to go, I can arrange that.
Please, yes. Let's go ASAP.
Right now?
The sooner the better.
All right. I guess we could go now. I mean,
if it means getting out of here.
Yeah, it's just that I noticed that you're not the only one that has curtains on this floor. And if you don't mind sticking around a little longer, I don't think they're going to be here too much longer. Everyone's going to go somewhere else in a minute, I won't be long. They won't miss them.
How about you just come back and do that?
They're in their 20s. They like to be naked. They're a bunch of college kids. Just let me, no one's gonna care if they see you through their windows. Just let me eat the curtains. That's all I'm saying.
You have my full permission to eat all of the curtains in this god's forsaken place. Just please get me out of here.
All right.
Get me out of there.
Follow me. Yeah. Follow me. And he hops over the back of the sofa and disappears. You just see that shock of red hair on the top of his head. It looks like it's a hairpiece. So it's all like lopped onto one side of his head, and when he jumps down, it all just kind of flies up like a sail in the wind and just collapses, slaps it back down onto his forehead. And he moves over to the windows and he manages to pull aside the curtain and look out and goes, "All right, I'm gonna go outside, go across the courtyard, signal our ride, okay?
Sounds
When
great.
just be ready to jump off this balcony."
So just wait. Where, how high exactly is this? What floor am I on?
It's probably a 45-foot drop from where you are right now. That's definitely going to be that's definitely a trip to the hospital if you take that jump. That's going to be that
Yeah.
would be a few days and a few casts probably.
Yera gulps audibly. How about, is there another way down besides just jumping?
Sure, there's the stairs, but stairs suck. Everybody knows that.
All right. Maybe I can just fashion some sort of, out of the curtains, the ones you don't like the flavor of, some sort of
Yeah.
rope. I'm not used to the whole jumping out of.
Yes.
I don't know if
Yeah. No. I like where you're going with this. Yeah. Let's turn it into rope.
Yeah, and then afterwards
you
you can eat it.
Yeah. Exactly. You can bring it with.
Yeah, put
This is a
some
great
dust
plan.
on it after we're done. Some of the dust off this building will rub off. It'll be perfect. Delicious.
You reach over and touch it, and there's just it is completely clean. There's no dust. You just kind of like nothing. And he goes, "Is that dusty? You see dust on there?"
Soon. The sooner the better.
Right.
So,
okay.
What else do I need?
Just don't overthink gravity. I'll be right back. And you see the goblin just pulls open the door to your balcony and just hops over as this little chimerical creature just vanishes from sight for a second. Then a moment later, you see this little green form just dashing with incredible speed across the courtyard and dipping into hiding as a mortal will walk by, and then dipping out again and just dashing. A few moments later, you see what looks like a Nissan, like a 95 Nissan that looks like it probably hasn't had an oil change in a few years, judging from this way it sounds and the way that the smell that it's giving off, just comes driving up that soft gravel driveway and then makes a very surprising slow turn into the thick, well mowed grass and just drives right up into the courtyard, just and comes rolling to a stop, brakes screeching, the squealing like an angry baby monkey, just this is everywhere. Like you're shocked if nobody hears this. Stops. Car door opens, and stepping out of the car door, slamming the door behind him, you see with a big lollipop in his mouth, there is what looks like undoubtedly a red cap. You just see like the mutton chops. These bright red, like somebody just went a little overboard with their with the like hair dye, this sort of like neon bright red chops that go down the sides of this ashen gray face, these big lips, like I'm talking like the mouth of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, like huge teeth, but they're flat, not sharp, and just works around this stick and lollipop that is in his mouth. Stands at about maybe 5'7", 5'8", and thick, quite thick, and is wearing what would seem to be a thrift store like puffy winter jacket, like a glossy one where some of it's peeling off to the side. Any designs or name brand stuff kind of giving way to the rather unimpressive coating underneath where all the stuffing of this old jacket is keeping him warm. Jeans and boots. He just looks like a thrift store nightmare. He looks out and he looks around and you see him go, "Where the fuck is she? You said she was going to be standing here. I don't fucking see her anywhere." and that at that point, Adriana just shapeshifts into me.
Who wouldn't?
Oh no, we're back. Sorry.
So sorry.
That's okay.
Instead of pressing unmute, I pressed end.
Disconnect. Adriana's like,
I was
huh.
so
Well, that was changing the dreaming. Like, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go play New Horizon. This is done. I'm gonna go play Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm out of here.
Get me out of here. She meant it.
Yeah.
The timing was impeccable.
Mm-hmm.
Could not be pecked.
Where is she? Just Adriana's like, nowhere. I'm out. Peace out.
Okay. I have a quick question. At a game, so as a Chloricon, could I make that jump? Is that like a normal, easy thing? Because I kind of like, I couldn't tell. So I was like, maybe am I going to break my legs like jumping out of this?
I mean, as a Chloricon, you will be subjected to the same bone-shattering impact on the surface of the earth as any other human or creature of any kind that is going to test Newton's laws. If you decide to leap over that balcony, the earth will welcome you at high velocity with a very stern and rigid embrace that will likely cause some fractures somewhere. However, in changing the dreaming, and since you are a new changeling, you have become aware that your world has changed a little bit in that, yes, gravity is real, but so are griffins. So it's hard to say what this goblin and this red cap have in mind. But he seems completely unaware. What you see in the chimerical side is the red cap described. In the autumn world, you might see what looks like Hispanic man in probably his mid 30s, good head of hair, looks like an average Joe, has a nice goatee going, is wearing what looks like a Metallica t-shirt, but it's still zipped up underneath that big, thick, ridiculous coat that is way too warm to be wearing, even in the temperatures that are right now. Everything about this guy screams to you, Gera, a man that chooses to look and live like this. There is a sense of rebellion of fuck the pretty shit. And this is a guy who likes, you can just tell from the way he carries himself and what he's driving, he likes it like this. And he carries himself with the utmost confidence and absolute confusion as he keeps his world to the second dimension and just looks around like, where is she? I don't see her. Where, like, you said she was going to be here. I don't see her anywhere.
Gera is still up there, and like she can see them down below, and she, like she has done countless times before at home, fashions a rope out of a curtain and like ties up all the like drapery and stuff she can find.
Okay.
Secures it and
pull it down from the
after slings her bags over her shoulder and just slowly just like gauges the distance and like wraps, double wraps it around her arm and slowly just
as you get in position, a heavy knock at the door.
Excuse me, hold on. Don't come in, I'm changing. Please, I'm not decent yet. Hold on. And then she just rapidly like starts to go down. She's just not gonna wait.
You're not gonna wait to answer the person at the door. You go over the side. Let's make this interesting. Roll a Dex athletics check if you would, please.
All right.
You want 6 or better?
A Dex what? Athletics?
Dexterity and athletics.
I will indeed do that. Okay. 2 successes so far, and then 2 more. 4 successes.
4 successes. Did you no ones?
No ones, luckily.
Okay, you were just 1 success away from a exceptional success. So that almost, which is in Changeling like rolling a critical hit. It's 5 successes is like rolling a nat 20. So it's really well done. So 4 successes is fantastic. Yes. So with ease, you just almost like you've been doing this most of your life. You tie that thing around and just you slide down as he's looking around. He looks down at the goblin and says, just kind of talking this way because he's got the lollipop in his mouth. He goes, "You said she would be right here. Where the fuck is she?" And you just on cue slide down. And before you have a chance to open your mouth, you just hear the goblin go, "Oh yeah," and run right past you and start just grabbing the curtain that you just slid down on, and just starts eating into it immediately. And the red cap is like, "Fuck," pulls a lollipop out and he goes, "You're Gera? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Gera?
It's Gara.
Gera.
However you pronounce it, it doesn't matter. Just nobody's gonna see this, right? Do we have to rush?
No, we got to rush if they don't want. If you don't want them to see us, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. Hey,
well, it's
hey,
Gara.
fucker, get in the car. Get in the car, fucker." And the goblin looks at him and goes, "Car, fucker," and he says, "Forget it. I'm leaving you," and gets into the driver's seat immediately. Slams the door. You pull the passenger side door as you get open. He starts pulling out, and the goblin goes, "Wait, wait, wait!" Starts like tries to run after the car, but forgets to stop biting the curtain. Gets like jerked straight back, loses his foot, goes right up into the ground, hits. The Nissan starts pulling out. The goblin's running, just chewing as fast as he can, and rips some of that curtain off as he continues just heading towards you guys. Throws himself onto the back, manages to grab hold of the breaking windshield wiper that has not worked for ages. The rubber lining on the side has been completely peeled away, and just hangs on for dear life as you squeal out of the courtyard and drive down the driveway and away from this Academy of Etiquette with a goblin flapping behind you like a flag in the wind.
Woo! See you later.
Y'all are just drive immediately. Your face is buffeted by the cool, salty winds of the Pacific Ocean. And as you're driving down this long, winding road headed back into what is the main city of Point Cassida, you can see off in the distance, just from the rolling fog as it's starting to burn away from the morning, the distant silhouette of a lighthouse and gulls that are collecting around it. And a sweeping, beautiful view of the blue Pacific Ocean. This is not the Atlantic. You are looking at a whole new side of the world, and it is majestic, to say the least. You can also see the distant silhouettes of Catalina Island from here, and Channel Islands Harbor. So you can see sort of like the grandeur, the natural beauty of Southern California and its coastlines. Shattered from a moment where you just get a little bit, something like wet splashes against the side of your face. And the moment you look to see, like reflexively, it's the red cap who just pulled that lollipop right out of his mouth with just goes, "Name's Mateo. I'm going to be your chauffeur just for right now anyway. When I drop your ass off, you're all on your own until the Baron tells me to do shit again. But for now, I'm your chauffeur. What's up? How's it going? Good to meet you."
Thank you. Good to meet you too. Thanks for getting me out of that hellhole.
Yeah. No problem. No problem.
I owe you. Seriously. Gosh.
He looks at you and he goes, "Okay, what do you owe me? You got to be careful when you say that shit around here. What do you owe me? What do you owe me? Owe me a drink?
Favor. Sure. A favor?
Okay.
A drink. There we go. I owe you a drink.
You're a clericon, right?
Again.
Can I throw some stereotypes at you? Do you drink a lot? You want to buy me a drink?
I could buy you a drink, or I owe you a fight. How about that?
He just stares at you for a long moment and glances back at the road, then glances at you again. And he goes, "I'm going to like you. I'm going to really like you. Yeah.
I like you already.
I'm going to do what I can to make sure you like me back."
Well, you're doing great now, so.
You're just going to tell her your whole fucking plan? You hear the goblin say as he pulls himself through the window in the back and just settles into the back seat. You see the goblin sits into what looks like an old broken child seat that's been like strapped into the back. He just kind of settles into it and goes, "Return to the throne. Oh man, there wasn't any dust on those, but I'm gonna tell you something. Those rich motherfuckers, they know how to buy some curtains. I can tell you that much." Anybody want to read one of the latest issues here? And he holds up the Good Housekeeping magazine that you swear you saw him put down. He goes, it's a couple of years old, cheap bastards, but if anybody wants to read this, you don't mind, do you, Mateo? He goes, "The fuck do I? What am I gonna do with that?" Cool. All right. Don't mind me then. He just starts opening it up and goes, he's like, it's a little disturbing as he opens up the Good Housekeeping to like the upholstery section and goes, "Oh yeah, that's some good stuff right there." And Mateo just says, Anyway, so the Baron wanted me to come get you and take you to Point Reed so he could introduce you to. Yeah, no. Just don't make eye contact with him. Let him do. Just let him do his thing. I'm supposed to bring you to Point Reed.
Okay.
You mind if I ask you, what's your story? Like, why are you? You're kind of a big deal, I guess. If the Baron wants to see you right away.
I'm not a big deal. They're making a huge big deal out of this. I was just sent out here. Why do you want to know what? Yeah.
I just like to know shit. You were sent out here. Baron wants to see you. That's just kind of weird, you know? It's just kind of weird.
It's just formal stuff, I guess, of the court. I don't really know. I honestly don't care.
Typical for a commoner. Yeah, formal stuff of the court. Sure, you're a clericon. It's fucking weird, you know? Just
I agree.
Weird.
It doesn't make sense, but you know, here we are. So
are you trying to dodge him? Are you trying to duck this? Because I'm gonna have you roll. Because I get the impression, the impression that poor Gera is like, dude, fucking shut up. Like, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, she's like, oh, don't know. Yeah. Like, I don't.
All right, so make a manipulation subterfuge roll. So you're gonna roll manipulation plus subterfuge. So manipulation is under social and subterfuge is under your talents towards the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be contested against him. So let's see how he does versus you. All right.
Dang.
Okay. Tell me what you get. Tell me how many successes you get.
Oh, goodness. 2 successes. No ones.
He nods. And he goes, well, who can fucking tell with the nobility, right? Like, who can fucking tell? They get up in everybody's business. Well, anyway. Yeah, name's Mateo. Red Cap. I don't know. Maybe I should tell you now in case you get surprised later. He kind of smiles at you sarcastically. Says, maybe they'll throw you into our Motley. Who knows? I'm with the Salties, by the way.
The Salties?
Yeah, we're a Motley here. We're a group of. You're new, aren't you? Like to Keithian society in general. You're kind of a new kid, right? You just went through your sailing. Is that what I heard? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. I know what a Red Cap is, though, and obviously, but I don't really know much of Motley's. I wasn't really able to join one back at home. So,
where's home?
If you must know, it's the UK.
No shit. He looks at you. He's like, whoa, you coming from the other side of the fucking world.
Yes, I'm trying to drop the accent and blend in. So just don't ask me to do it.
So a commoner coming over here from the old kingdoms of old, going to some like prissy ass boarding school, and then the Baron wants to speak to you. All right.
I wasn't exactly a commoner in the UK.
He slowly glances over to you and he goes, oh shit, I'm getting information. Check me out.
And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. So if you want any more, you're going to have to brawl me and win. But I don't think they're going to do that. So.
You see these? He points at these huge teeth in his mouth. And again, like it just stretches. There's more mouth than face. He just kind of expands outward in a nightmarish fashion. And he goes, I like my teeth. You can keep your information. I plan on keeping those where they are. He kind of smiles to himself as he continues to drive. And then after a moment, he goes, hey, Gnarls, you got any more of the curtain? And the goblin goes, yeah, hold on. Holds up a big strip of cloth, and without missing a beat, Mateo reaches back and grabs it and just eats it right in front of you. Just sticks it in his mouth and chews on it.
Does that taste good?
He goes, nah. And you all drive on. At about the time that Skeeta and Holly are arriving at the end of the dock, the two of you see, surprisingly enough, here at this end of the dock, the Baron himself having a conversation and holding a hot dog of all things. Now, in the autumn world, again, to describe the Baron, is a very handsome gentleman. I've described him just so to revisit, and so that Adriana gets a good snapshot. The Baron himself stands at about 5'9" and very much carries himself and kind of looks like Oscar Isaac in Dune. He has that very like curly hair and the facial hair. He walks with an air of nobility. He is a Latino man, probably in his late 40s from the looks of it, but exudes charisma and authority. He stands very comfortably dressed in what looks like a very fine, like dress slacks and a button-up shirt with a tie on, like casual. He looks like somebody who would be modeling like casual wear for lawyers right now. Like you would see it in sort of a magazine of just sleeves rolled up and tie. The only thing missing is the briefcase. Except instead of a briefcase, he's holding what looks like a hot dog that he's just finished putting ketchup on. He's standing in front of one of the vendors out front. Vendor is completely mortal and has no idea that standing in front of him is an autumn she with pointed ears and brilliant emerald eyes that occasionally catch a fleck of purple as he shifts into the light. To the changeling eyes, the button-up shirts and whatnot, that all stands. He's not as pronounced as he was in the Freehold, where he was literally dressed and adorned in items that was made from dross, the dreaming itself, voile. He just kind of has the demeanor and the majesty of the dreaming kind of bled away as he's left the Freehold, and now looks like an Oscar Isaac high elf in lawyer attire, standing there having a hot dog. And he's, without looking up, he just kind of nods to the two of you as you're approaching. At about that point, you do notice that not too far away, you can see Sir Kips is also here. And as a quick refresher, Sir Kips is a satyr, they, them, and carries, Sir Kips is one of the knights that protects the Freehold. You also know that Sir Kips is a member of House Skaha, so probably a direct knight serving as probably one of the other bodyguards of the Baron. To the mortal world, Sir Kips has very much, and this is absolutely inspired by the awesome like bright pink haircut that Sam used to have, but has like the side fade shaved, like bright pink hair that kind of curls off to the side, wearing what looks like sort of like a performance artist theater long sleeve black shirt that's clinging tightly to their chest and looks like jeans and black boots. Very, very like avant, I would say kind of emo kid. To you all, though, you see the satyr hooves peeking out from underneath those jeans, kind of overlapping into that. You don't see the shoes as much as you see the hooves, and the horns popping out underneath that swerve of pink hair. Kips is just kind of paying mostly attention to themselves and glances up at the two of you and kind of nods. You know Kips is armed, but you don't see where the weapon is. The knight has weapon on themselves at all times, but you don't know where it is. But Kips just kind of stands there and is just looking around. The Baron turns to all of you as he takes a gentle bite from the hot dog, just and looks at all of you with a smile and approaches you, Holly, and says, here you are outside the Freehold. It's good to see you. And how are things going today? And looks over at you, Skeeta. You have a big day planned today, I take it?
Big, huge day for our dear friend Holly. First up is Pinkberry.
This is an exciting new time for you, Holly. Again, yes. Just as a reminder, please be safe.
I will do my
Nothing
best.
bad ever happens at Pinkberry, trust me. I say that to both the Baron and to Holly.
You kind of look over at Holly and
good.
Holly, at about that point, you see both of you have been hearing this noise this whole time, but it hasn't registered until just now because you finally have seen something in the corner of your eye to put a thing to it. But what you thought was perhaps something in the surf that was just scraping up against the dock is actually an otter that has been spending the past few moments scrambling to pull itself up onto the dock. And you see this California sea otter just press itself up onto the dock and kind of use its head and then clawing its way up. And the Baron just kind of, you see him turn slowly and look for a moment.
I spin around, grab the dock post with one arm and use to counterbalance myself and haul poor Kit up into my lap.
Okay.
You silly thing.
The otter comes bounding over and is doing the thing the otter does, where its entire body like turns and looks in every direction that it's trying to get a scope on. And the Baron just nods and says, well, enjoy your big day. And remember, the Freehold is available to you at all times. If you will both please excuse me, you all are interrupted again by the sound of a screeching noise that splits the air. Even Sir Kips turns and looks in the direction to see what it is, and you all see this Nissan pull up to the edge of the dock, comes to a stop, then drifts and comes to a stop again, and then a stop again. The last one just causes the entire front of the car to before it screeches down. Back door starts to open up, pushes open, a goblin hops out. Well, I think I'm car sick. They want to throw up all those curtains. You see one of the red caps that you saw from the last week, you think, at court, you haven't seen since, get out of the car. The car suspension, which is almost completely blown, the suspension shakes rather violently as he gets up out of the car. The passenger side door opens, and stepping out, if you would please, Gira, describe what they see as the passenger side door opens and you step out onto the dock.
They see an athletic woman just kind of garbed in like a long black dress with a white top and olive tone skin. Basically kind of like me.
Brianna, if you could please describe yourself right now to everybody. And if you could please just look in the mirror and tell everybody what you see right now so that we know what your character looks like.
But she has her hair, these wild long locks are actually tied up in kind of like a pompadour with a bandana kind of up there. But the Cluricon ears are a little bit pointed and her eyes are a brilliant greenish hazel that they can see. And yeah, I mean, she's got these black pumps and just looking cute, and somehow lifts all of her bags with one arm and just like hefts them on and is like,
okay.
Whew. Just kind of getting a lay of the land, and she sees them. Hi. Hello.
Not a she, from what you can tell. Doesn't have the same, the ears are pointed, but they're not exaggerated like a she's ears, which are like World of Warcraft style, like high elf ears peeking up over the tops. In this case, this is something new. She is something new. And as she bids hello to everybody, there's a moment where you see Mateo goes, "Oh, fuck, excuse me," and he bows. And the goblin goes, what are we bound for? You see,
are they bowing to the Baron?
Yes.
Oh,
you at least you think, you don't know which one is the Baron. You just see three people on the dock. And if you two would like to describe yourselves again, or if you like to just say what it is that that she sees when she sees the two of you standing next to the Baron, or next to the Baron.
I mean,
as
Holly is pretty much in keeping with their character art. Apparently merfolk are a thing. This is the first one around here in it. So
that's That is a good point. And so it is worth pointing out that, yes, Gira, you see there next to the Baron, and what looks like a chair that is slowly being claimed by the dreaming from the way that it is starting to shape and turn. It's spending so much time in the presence of other changelings and being used by one. It is being claimed by the dreaming. And Sam can tell us what that looks like. But also, more magnificent and shocking instead of seeing this mythological Kithian sitting here before you is the fact that there's also a rather large adult sea otter that is kind of laying across their back in the lap of this merfolk like a really friendly puppy dog. You can tell that it's chimerical just from the sheer bizarre marbleization of brightly shaded colors that kind of move across its back. This is an otter that exists in the dreaming. It's a chimerical creature, not a quote unquote autumn world or real, as some of the mortals like to say, sea otter, but instead
Autumn world? Really?
autumn world. Yes.
Autumn.
And that's what you see.
Oh, you know, Gira is feeling a kind of way today, and she wants to like make a like kind of funny impression. So she sees this sea otter, and then seeing the other two bowing, takes a deep formal bow to the sea otter, to the little kit.
Okay.
Nice to meet your acquaintance, furry little one.
Skeeta starts giggling, just like
as the newcomer bows to your otter.
I hold up the otter who sort of rubbers a little, hold them up from their underarms, kind of like just like a little lap Simba, to accept this offering very solemnly and very seriously. This is very okay. No, I crack.
And how may I address you?
This is Kit.
Nice to meet you, Kit.
I look up to Skeeta, like, are we doing this right?
I look back very unsure. And I'm looking at the Baron and then back at Gira and at Kit. And I'm like, oh, I've been doing this all wrong.
Sir Kips at this point has taken position next to the Baron and has moved over here, especially with the newcomer. The red cap steps forward and says, well, I got her for you. Can I go? The Baron says, thank you. I will make note of your service to the Freehold. I appreciate you playing taxi. You may go. Glad to serve. Hey, points at you again, Getter, and says, you owe me a punch in the face and a drink.
Anytime.
Gets
Thanks
back
again
into
for
the
the
car.
ride.
Yep. Gets back into the car. The goblin says, are we fucking leaving? We just got here. Are you kidding me? And gets back into the car. The door closes, screeching sound again as it begins to pull away from the curb. The Baron immediately looks at you, totally focused on you now, Gira. And just as he finishes a hot dog, he wipes his hands, tosses the napkin into the trash, and says, when did you arrive?
Well, literally today. Arrived at the school and they got me out of there, so.
Well, it's nice to meet you in person, finally. Maybe the lot of us. And he points the two of you as well, Skeeta and Holly, and says, perhaps we should retreat back to the other side of the dock for the moment and have a conversation.
That sounds great. I would like to meet all of you properly, too. I was just kidding.
I was about to send them on their way, but apparently we're headed back to the Freehold for the moment. For another orientation.
Yes, to the Freehold, not Pinkberry.
I promise not to keep you both very long.
Okay, but I would like to actually meet you all. What was your names? And
the Baron holds up his hand and says, what you're suggesting is the correct etiquette, and we will get to that. But let us move away from And he glances over at the hot dog seller who's just like fixing up his stand. And he says, let us move to more discreet areas where we can have conversations without the ears of mortals nearby.
That makes sense. Yeah, sorry. I'm new to this whole thing.
He nods. He says, think nothing of it. Please follow me. The Baron starts striding towards the end of the dock. Sir Kip's in tow, kind of looking around left and right. You get the impression Sir Kip's is very much like the hawk of the knighthood here at the Barony. The way they rather are just kind of looking left and right, constantly watching the waterline, constantly watching the people that are walking around on the docks. Make it to the end of the docks, and once again, you see sitting there, having only just gotten back from ferrying across to the Point Reed, is a certain knocker who's got his feet kicked up on an ice cooler and has what looks like his cell phone in his hand and is watching a YouTube video, smoking a cigarette. And he glances up at the Baron and he goes, "Oh, you wanting to go back?" And the Baron says, "Now, please." And the knocker says, "All right." Without a swear word, without any complaints at all, knocker gets up immediately, puts down the ramp, and starts helping you all on board. This boat, by the way, is very much in the autumn world, very much just looks like a typical like open boat that would ferry people back and forth, like a very nice motorboat that has areas to sit and just large enough for maybe about 7 people. In the Dreaming, however, this thing looks like a rickety old wooden boat that has brass linings and a large, ridiculous engine at the very end that just constantly is spewing a smell that is kind of like cotton candy, but also smells a little bit like burning. It just bizarre senses. For Holly, it just smells like thick, warm, salty air. It just in the back of your mouth, the kind you can taste at the very edges of your tongue in the very back of your throat.
So I squeeze Skeeta's arm after I've gotten the wheels parked. Do you want to go on the other side of the boat?
Yes. Definitely.
And with the boat very nicely parked, I want to slide Kit over the side and slide myself over the side and hold out my arm to Skeeta.
Okay. The Baron is watching this with curiosity.
I'd like to swim with her in the boat, alongside the boat.
I take their hand and I'm going to glance at the Baron quick, but I'm still going to do it just because the temptation is too much.
The Autumn She just looks back at you with a raised eyebrow, but says nothing, just waits.
And so I swing my legs over the side of the boat and I slip into the water.
You see sort of like it's one of those perfect examples of where the autumn world and the Dreaming are just crashing into each other. The presence of the Freehold nearby is doing enough where you can see a more angelic looking version of the Pacific Ocean. The autumn world might see what looks like the seawater near shore of a dock with like the rainbow hues of an oil slick drifting on top of the water. Not something you necessarily want to jump into. That being said, you see Holly just go right over the side with your hand in theirs. And the next moment, you are in the frigid, icy waters of the morning Pacific Ocean. You see this happen as well, Agira, as the two of them just go over the side. And there's a heavy splash. The knocker goes, "Fuck," throws out the cigarette, and immediately runs and grabs life jackets. And the Sir Kips is kind of smiling to himself as the Baron raises his hand and he goes, "I don't think the merfolk needs a life jacket." He goes, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Goes back to the front of the boat, drops the life jacket, reaches down and picks up the cigarette, which you see Gira has been mostly crushed and has been extinguished, just like a wisp of smoke going back out. And You see him just tap it against his head twice, and he goes, little flame ignites on it and puts it back inside as he does a bunk, and immediately uses glamour to use nature and ignites a flame at the end of the cigarette. Just as a little bit of changeling magic comes into play, and the boat starts up again. Just so you are swimming next to a merfolk now, and I will tell you this, Skeeta, it's pretty incredible how easy this merfolk is moving through the water. Like having flippers on and how it propels you even faster than you thought you could swim, kind of thing.
I think there's that moment where I'm moving my arms kind of nearby you, trying to figure out what's the most comfortable way to support you so we can go together. I think it's they try like you're their little otter. So supporting from under you. Kind of the swimming spoon.
So like
so that you can breathe, because I want to make sure that you breathe. It's important when you're in there. So
yes, Skeeta needs to stay near the surface and needs to occasionally stick her head up so they can get it.
It's really important. It's really important. And like, you can't let them do that for too long. And I don't know how long is too long yet. So I'm being very careful.
Well, I noticed that you are watching me, with my head above water breathing, and I say, oh, well, I can go all the way, let's see for how long. And then I take a big deep breath and I dive underneath.
Excellent. Oh, let's go. So I've got you, and should I make some kind of an athletic, like a swim check?
I don't think so. I think this is one of those situations where I'm going to take a page out of PBTA's book and just say you want to do it, so you do it. I mean, there's no real consequences to success or failure here, and it's pretty awesome. You're getting your sort of Falcor moments in the Neverending Story where you basically get to do something pretty incredible that you didn't think you could do. You're being tugged along, and tug is kind of a crude way of saying it, but essentially, Skeeta, you are being pulled through the water just gracefully and powerfully by the propulsion of a merfolk pumping their tail, and that is causing you to keep in pace with this boat that is motoring its way across the bay. Just under the surface of the water, out of the prying eyes of the mortals, Holly is able to do this with no efforts whatsoever. There is no banality or disbelief that it would be taking place here, especially as you're approaching the Freehold. It's when you go up for air is when you finally get a sense of how fast you're moving, Skeeta, because the water breaks against you as you just exhale, and you're like, and you go back down again, and you get a
like
sense.
A dolphin. I imagine that they kind of flip me over and let me breathe, and then we go back under.
And this whole time as this is happening, Gira, you have a front row seat to it. You're watching. It's your first time in your life seeing a merfolk. Like, if being a changeling wasn't enchanting enough, you've just encountered a legendary creature that you did not know was real, but is surprised to see. And right now, it looks like they're going on their morning constitution with one of their good friends. It's worth noting, too, that their good friend is fully clothed and is just like, was not ready to go swimming. And it's just being propelled through the water. And this is how you were all taken to it's like a 3-minute boat ride to the lighthouse. And when you all arrive at the dock, you were hauled up back into the boat. Water just splashing all over the place, drenching your chair. Skeeta, you're hauled up out of the water as the knocker reaches down, pulls you up, just kind of, and hauls you up onto the boat and shakes his head at the two of you. As Sir Lord Amar just says, "You smell like the bay now, you know that?" And he smiles at you, Skeeta.
Do you want me to tell you what you smell like?
No, you don't need to tell me what I smell like. And he moves back to the front of the boat. And the Baron and Sir Kips move up the ramp. And one by one, you all head into the Freehold yet again. Now, on the outside, the Freehold is a beautiful lighthouse. a small compound with a gift shop, sleeping quarters, a place where a lot of tools are kept for the tool shed. The lighthouse itself is 2 stories and looks like an antique, which it kind of is, as it was built in the late 1870s. Not too this lighthouse was built back in a time where tall ships were still sailing through the harbors of San Francisco, and Los Angeles wasn't a city. It was just a blip on the map. The house resembles that era. To the mortals that you see walking around, who are visiting the gift shop and who are exploring the top parts of the lighthouse itself, the Freehold is open today to the public for visitors. And Gera, as you are walking into the large patio area where you see 2 picnic tables and a small coffee stand where people are working here, you immediately feel the presence of glamour all around you, not just from the balefire that probably lie within the Freehold, but the mortals that are walking around this old historical site, asking questions, getting stories about old pirate ships that might have sailed through here, and kids asking questions as they're holding balloons about the lighthouse and wanting to go up. And moving throughout here, you can feel this place is a step removed from the crushing, gray, boring world that most mortals choose to live in. Here, you're on the cusp of something. There's history, and there's legend, and then there's the Freehold itself. And the closer you get to it, the more you begin to realize that to your changeling eyes, it doesn't look like a normal lighthouse. And instead of just white paint and brown borders to the door, you're actually seeing articulated golden paints and these beautiful sculptures, these wooden sculptures of unicorn heads that have been painted this deep purple that are arcing off the top of this lighthouse, almost like gargoyles guarding their place of their haven, as it were. The lighthouse itself, to mortal eyes, is not on. It is, in fact, daytime, and there's no purpose for it. But to the changeling eyes, you see what looks like the deep swirling flame of the balefire being reflected in the mirrors on top of the lighthouse, giving this place a sort of beautiful emerald green glow that almost matches your eyes. And as you move around to the front and going up the ramp and into the front door of this lighthouse, you step into the Freehold itself, which has an immediate effect on you as you enter Gera. This is a Freehold, a level 3 Freehold. So the moment you walk in, you step into a pocket of the dreaming. Moving into this place, everyone else would see a very charming Airbnb that was built, again, just before the turn of the century. Over 100 years ago. Well over 100 years ago. But to the changelings that just walked in the door, this place is a place where the dreaming manifests. And the first thing that strikes your attention is the fact that the hallway that's directly in front of you, all of the wood in here is deep, beautiful lacquered wood. You can see what looks like trinkets denoting the age of exploration, all of the more positive aspects of reaching out and exploring the unknown. You don't see anything that marks any historical events. You see things like captain's wheels that have names on them that you've never heard before. You see seashells. You see all sorts of decorations. You also see tapestries and paintings of the coat of arms of House Skaha, which is a giant, almost sinister looking unicorn of purple with narrowed eyes. But then also the hall that leads down into the main area where court is held, where you can sense, even from here, a balefire burning deep within. You feel the presence of dreamers all around you. Though they may not be here physically, you can feel the dreaming. You are home. This is where a changeling belongs. And the moment you move into the room, you see your changeling seeming itself, as well as Holly and as well as Skeeta. They just seem to be more defined. Their colors are sharper. The imagery, the detail, everything, they just seem more vibrant. Everything looks more vibrant, including the 4 suits of pure solid gold armor that line the hallways as you are moving into the main area. And as you're walking by these suits of armor, you hear one of them squeak, "Welcome back," in a deep voice that echoes from inside the helmet.
Skeeta does a little bit of a salute. If
Hold on,
Ruby were here, that's what she would do.
Yeah. You move into the main area, and the study area of this freehold, the common area where this particular baron likes to hold court, looks like the interior of an old ship, like a captain's cabin, a very large captain's cabin that is surrounded by beautiful, tall, floor-to-ceiling stained glass windows depicting scenes of the ocean, great krakens and whales that are locked in mortal combat with one another. You can see storms blowing through, griffins being illustrated in the sky, all in perfect, masterfully made stained glass, which you know are pure manifestations of the dreaming. And in the center of this room, in all of its glory, you see a simple green flame burning on what looks like a granite pedestal. This green flame is glamour manifest. It's the dreaming brought forth. This is the balefire, the beating heart of not only the freehold itself, but the entire barony. And the baron moves into the room like this is nothing, strides across the room over to his captain's desk, as it were, and starts rolling down his sleeve as Sir Kips moves into the room and takes position next to him. And turns to address the three of you as he leans back against the desk and he goes, well, I apologize, first of all, Gira. I feel that I am giving you something of sort of the cheap version of your welcoming. Everyone else was able to be introduced in the court, but you and I, as per your request, will be doing it here. He nods and says, I understand the reason for your wanting to do it this way.
Yeah, the smile that was like beaming on her as she, saw the merfolk, the magical moments, and like getting to this. As soon as the Baron brought up like court and etiquette, she's just like it kind of faded, and she's like, "Oh, it's totally fine. This is perfect. This is wonderful. Lovely, lovely place. No formalities needed. It's preferred that way, actually."
He's smug. He has a smug smile on his face, and he folds his arm and leans back against the desk, and he looks at you for a long moment. And at about that point, the two of you, Skeeta and Holly, notice that Sir Kips is in the corner, kind of like shaking their head and just kind of smiling, like they know that Gira doesn't realize that she just said something that was kind of a faux pas. It's kind of flying over everybody's head for a moment, but the Baron smiles for you for a long moment and says, Gira, what I'm about to say to you is not a reprimand, so please don't take it that way.
Okay.
Your mortal titles have no meaning here in the Freehold. So you can enjoy everything that you've been asking for. I understand you don't want to bring that with you when you enter these doors. I assure you, here, you're just Gira.
Thank you.
He nods.
This is more than enough.
I do need to speak to the three of you all together, though. It's why I've brought you all here. There are many things in play, and things that I don't want to drag everyone into. The three of you, in truth, the five of you, were all meant to be a motley. There are two others. He nods to you, Gira.
Where are they?
The Autumn World has its demands. I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, Holly looks at Skeeta. We were gonna go to Pinkberry.
I'm wondering, I don't know if people in the UK have heard of Pinkberry. I don't know if they have Pinkberry over there, but I'll leave that to you, whether or not you want it. Right now, our UK viewers are like, we fucking heard of Pinkberry? Like, or they're both just like, yeah, I don't know what that is.
Googling, is there Pinkberry in the UK?
Is there Pinkberry in the UK?
There is. It's a yogurt flavor, right?
Yes, but I mean, given Europe's penchant for using actual ingredients, I am curious. Like, you know, they don't live in the United States of high fructose corn syrup, so.
No, Yara is aware. Like she's
Okay.
You know,
That's more
often
than
tried
Holly.
to.
Yeah, Holly doesn't even know what it is yet. I haven't told Holly anything
No.
about it.
And at that point, he says, "Now, before we continue, let's do the formalities that we were unfortunately having to miss out on before. As you well know, I am Baron Merinus Apskaha. This is my knight, Sir Kips Apskaha. And these two here are members of your kith. Or rather, I should say, members of your Motley." And kind of motions to the two of them that are just right next to you. You please introduce yourselves to your new Motley member.
Oh, this is okay. Well, my name is Skeeta. It's pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet your acquaintance as well.
My name is Holly, and I'm... Looks to Skeeta. Looks to the Baron. Looks to Skeeta. Looks to the Baron. Looks to Gara.
The Baron gives you a nod, Holly, when you look to him. He says, "Of course, it is your choice who you choose to tell."
I'm Holly Midley Amaris. I'm a Dukes of the Kingdom of Athlane. Hello. This is still Kit.
Very pleased to meet you as well. And Kit.
If there's anything you've learned from your life in the Autumn Realm, Gera, is that when Holly introduces themselves as the child of a duke, you begin to realize you might be in the presence of royalty.
Oh, Gera is very aware and like regards them like,
outranks the Baron. So you're not sure what the story is there, but after that, the Baron leans over and picks up what looks like an interesting slip of paper that looks like it's made out of pure gossamer, and holds it up, and it kind of catches the light, has sort of a rainbowed effect, but you can see right through it. And he says, "Before your arrival today, Gera, I received this from a messenger of Queen Erin ap Fiona herself."
Oh, yeah. The king is sending me out here, and the queen should be receiving me.
He listens very carefully.
Apologies. I'm not really well versed in their names. I mean, not even Autumn royalty, to be honest, but yes. That should explain a little bit more why I'm here.
Question. You're saying the Autumn Queen and King are sending you out here?
No.
Oh.
There is no Autumn King or Queen.
Well, mortals think there are, of course.
I see. You're referring, of course, to the actual Queen Mother, or rather, you're actually referring to the Queen of England.
Yes. But you were referring to
the Kingdom of Roses in the United Kingdom.
Oh, I see. Well.
I won't press you on this any further. It's not my business to know what kings and queens are doing. I am merely a baron, but the Queen of the Kingdom of Pacifica has sent me this message herself, and I am told that you are to be given certain considerations. I am telling you this because after our brief conversation on the phone before your plane landed, I know for a fact you don't want that. So,
please no.
He raises his hand and he says, I'm a she, but I'm also a member of Scout House Skaha. I don't function like the other types of my kin do. I understand the importance of practicality, and I know you're trying to keep a low profile, just like Holly here. And nods to Holly, says, so, your autumn world will not intrude here, so long as you stay within the confines of the Barony of Olives. I can promise you, no one needs to bother you or know about where you're coming from.
Great.
But you're a noble.
Oh, what?
You're a noble.
No, I mean, it's yes, but not here. Here, I'm just a friend. I'm just one of you all, and you know, I can finally get to know my Motley and get away from all that, maybe. Yeah.
Well, that's enough for now. Welcome to the Barony of Olives. And in the meantime, I'm going to turn you over to your Motley here. The Freehold is open to you at all times. You are welcome here. I will once again remind you that your mortal rank has no holding here, so we ask that you please conduct yourself as you would in court, as a commoner in court.
Oh, wait, I've never been to... Oh.
You see he leans off the desk and he moves over to you, Gira, and he puts his hand on your shoulder and says, don't worry, we only have court once a month. You'll be fine.
Oh, thank the gods. Okay, that's doable, yeah.
You're going to fit in here, and your Motley is going to enjoy your company. I don't want to keep you too much longer. The formalities are done. If you ever need anything, I can send someone to get you, or you can call me. Welcome to the Barony of Olives. Go enjoy yourself, unpack, and do what you can not to draw too much attention to us.
Of course. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. From all of you, thank you.
He turns and looks at the two of you, Skeeta and Holly, and says, the dreaming has brought you all together. I don't know why yet, but there are signs. Go enjoy your pink berry, he says mysteriously and rather mischievously, leaving it at that as he turns back to his desk. And you all get the impression you've been dismissed as he begins to just pick up what looks like scrolls and unroll them and start reading.
I'm going to head out of this room and kind of catch eyes with the other two of my Motley.
I follow Skeeta.
Yara's gonna do the same and just kind of follow them both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At this point, right before we go to break, you will all have noticed at this point that Geeta has been lugging around a bag this whole time. One she has been refusing to let go of. She just kind of has it slung over her shoulder and has been lugging it around this whole time. A lot of you make it out to the boat where the knocker lord once again spots all of you just as he's getting situated. And he goes, are you fucking kidding me? All right, fine. I'm everyone's taxi service today. That's fine. I'm everyone's. That's all I ever am. I got a lordship. I got a title.
Oh, I was going to say, isn't that what you do every day? You should be
Yeah.
used to it
See,
by now.
as you're all shuttled back over to the docks with Pinkberry ahead of you and the rest of the afternoon ready to go, let's go ahead and take our 10-minute break, and we'll be back in 10 minutes with the second half of episode 2 of the Barony of Olives. Welcome back to the Barony of Olives, dreamers. We are going to jump back into our story tonight, which is the second chapter of this Changeling Chronicle, and we are going to start back off where we left off with you all having just left the Freehold. We're going to skip ahead a little bit and say that a lot of you are now at the end of the dock, back on land, having returned. with the entire afternoon before you. The only thing that's a little awkward about this whole gathering is on top of y'all just being out here out in the open and watching the people of Point Cassida go about their day, there is the Chloricon with a bag she keeps lugging around. She's just constant. It's like she didn't get to unpack or something. She's just lugging this around and she's just looking at everybody and going about her day. It's a little awkward, but for the most part, it's a good bicep workout for you there. Y'all have the afternoon, and there is let's say because it's near the docks, let's say that being that it's near the docks where whale watching tours will occasionally gather and these sorts of things happen here at Point Cassida, there's a couple of commercial setups around here, around sort of this crescent. I'm picturing one of those things very much like the Aquarium of the Pacific, where there is like a statue in the middle and there's kind of a roundabout where cars just drive around through here. In that sort of roundabout area, there's a bunch of eateries and there is a Pinkberry not too far within sight.
Are we in the boat leaving Point Reed, or are we already back on the dock?
You are at the end of the dock.
Okay.
Standing in front of the commercial district near the roundabout. So yeah, we've cut back to, yeah.
Okay. I point to the Pinkberry and I say, that's where we're going. Let's go. I start marching over to it.
Okay. You all find yourselves entering into the Pinkberry. The interior is brightly colored. There is a television playing, like a flat screen up in the corner, which is, of course, advertising all of the flavors and whatnot and giving Pinkberry commercials, and occasionally like a cheesy news break that's obviously like a fake report of like coming in today, like news is breaking right now that a new flavor of banana, like all this ridiculousness. You see a couple of people standing in line, a couple of children behind their parents. But you also see all the dispensaries for the yogurt itself and some cups being handed out. You are inside a Pinkberry.
I wave my arm very grandiosely to the space we're in, and I say, for both of their benefit, I say, my lieges, this is Pinkberry. As your tour guide for the day, I want to expand your palates and introduce you to the concept of sweet, cold, creamy.
Sweet, cold, creamy.
Yes, and all the variations there within. And then I step into line. We have to wait in line.
And you queue.
Even for royalty like us.
Unfortunately, yes. But
you notice
while
as you're talking, by the way, Skeeta, you notice that this flowery language and the fact that Gira has chimed in and is playing along with you. There's a little girl at the very front of the line who's just watching you all with her finger in her mouth, and she's got a smile on her face because she thinks y'all are like performing something, and she's just watching the two of you, just enchanted, completely enraptured with all of you.
Is she sitting at a table, or is
she's
eating?
in line. She's standing behind her parents who are at the register right now, paying for the Pinkberry.
I would like to do something discreetly for her benefit.
Okay, what are you gonna do?
I would like to dispense some froyo and put it in a little cup and have it just go to her without anyone else seeing.
Okay.
How do I do that? Can I do that? Here are my arts. I have Summer, Wayfarer, and Sovereign. I know Sovereign won't apply here.
No.
But would Summer or Wayfarer? Here, let me look at what those do.
Possibly.
Okay, so Summer.
Summer's probably not going to help you here because that is a cantrip that is an art that is not going to. That's something else. You're probably looking at Wayfarer, but Wayfarer is very much
like it's like movement, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like going from A to B. Wayfarer is very much like opening portals to the dreaming, and but it could also be things like Well, let me take a glimpse at it real quick because it's possible. If not being able to use changeling magic to do this, if you're not able to, if you don't have an art that you could use here, it doesn't mean that you as a little pisky couldn't sleight of hand this.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking either or a
The
combo.
Steely Court, the powerful seasonal art, harness the magic. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, so just so you know, summer is the art of fire.
Mm-hmm.
So you could everyone who comes near the front door of an old Chloricon grump tends to give up whatever errand that brought them. Okay, so the cantrip summons bright dancing motes of colorful lights in the substance of the form of dreaming, like flicker flies. Not only illuminate the area around, so you basically cast fairy fire is level
That's
1.
fun.
Wayfare is the art of travel, of clever movement, which is kind of where I'm getting hung. Okay, that's what it is. So level 1 Wayfare, just so you know, is an art. Level 1 is called hopscotch.
Right. Yes.
And hopscotch is hilarious. A laughing puka clears a high fence in a single bound. My satyr had this when I played Changeling. Hopscotch is great because it lets you basically just boing, like pull a Super Mario Brother. You just throw down a bunk and jump. You could leap a fence in a single bound. You can just bounce over things. Or you can like long jump, and all you need is a bunk. You could be standing completely still. If Holly wanted to, Holly could just slap the sides of the wheels and hopscotch right through the door and out into the street, like skid to a stop. Like hopscotch lets you do that. It wouldn't really help you here, but you know it would help you here. You're a pisky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like taking stuff that ain't necessarily yours is kind of the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what you do. So I might say, I'm just going to look at because here's the thing, you're nimble, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a bonus to dexterity, plus piskies naturally blend in at all times. No matter where you will go, piskies always look like they belong there. Their skin color, their hair color, their eye color, their facial features, whatever you want, they all just appear to be part of the surroundings. Like it's no big deal. Like you belong there. Any changeling or supernatural player, any changeling or supernatural entities player can roll a perception plus kinning to see through the, but otherwise you just look like you belong there. So in other words, if you want to do this, I will let you roll. In fact, I think we just made this revision on your character sheet. So I would say roll a dexterity plus larceny check.
Yeah. Yeah.
To sort of sleight of hand this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
that's get.
All right. So I'm rolling 6.
Because of your pisky aspect,
Mm-hmm.
I am not going to raise the difficulty at all for mortals being around or security cameras or anything else like that. Instead, you just need a 6 or better.
Can I spend a point at one of our? Yeah, I want to use
one of our story points.
Yeah, to get a glamour.
Yes. Would you like to gain an extra die to the roll?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, let me mark it down that you have spent one of the story points, which is pretty awesome. So just as a quick reminder for those who are watching at home that may not know what just happened, our story points are given to us by members of the community who are supporting the StreamPunks at the Super Punk level. This affords everybody a story point, which they can gift to the group, and that can come in forms of like glamour, that can come into the form of re-rolls. It functions all sorts of different ways that allow for the expenditure of sort of the manipulation of the narrative. And this story point is going to be given to you on behalf of Mr. Owlbear. Thank you so much for your support and for being a dreamer, Mr. Owlbear.
Mr. Owlbear. Okay. Here I go. Do it for the kids. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 5. 5 successes.
5 successes. Did you roll any ones?
No ones.
Okay. That's the new rule moving forward. If you roll any ones, they eat successes. But with no ones and 5 successes, you basically just crit the crap out of that. Not Holly, not Gera, not the security Kims, not the mortals around here have any idea that you swiped one of those cups, filled it with one of the yogurts, moved over to the little girl. And as you're sitting here having this conversation, when you throw up in your hands and do your opening monologue, by the time your hands have come back, the little girl realizes that she's holding a cup of yogurt that wasn't there before,
And
which
so
sends her
you
into a
see,
giggle fit.
and so you see, this place is full of magic, really. And then I wink at the little girl.
She is delighted, and all of you can feel in this room just a little bit of that sense of enchantment. She's a kid, which means she's already got a high glamour rating and low banality rating. And right now, she's just completely mesmerized by this. Her parents reach down to hand her her yogurt, which she takes and hides the one that she got from you. And as she's being led away, she just quickly starts eating it.
Good girl.
Probably going to get a headache from that. Doesn't seem to stop her. Just,
It'll go away.
yeah. And they move out the door as you are now in the front of the line, Holly, with Skeeta.
Mhm. Oh, yes. So, Holly, I must warn you. And I look at the cashier and kind of say, they're new in town. And then turn back to Holly and say, I must warn you, when you eat cold things too quickly, it may hurt your head.
Here's a question for Holly.
Yes.
Have you ever eaten anything that wasn't cold?
Well,
As a
so
merfolk?
here's I have never had anything. Well, not
Like
never,
ice
but
ice cube?
hot is not a thing. But also,
Right.
one has to go pretty far away to eat something as cold as frozen yogurt.
Right.
Mhm.
True.
That
True.
would take a very substantial swim. I don't think you can eat something in the Pacific off the coast of Southern California that's going to give you a brain freeze. If I had to guess,
okay.
I think
Yeah,
brain freeze is
probably
a
true.
useful warning from
That's probably
Skeeta.
true. Yep. Okay.
I'm gonna find out how fast too fast is. So I look to Skeeta like I'm going to pattern off of you, like fishy see, fishy do.
Great. I grab the biggest cup
Biggest cup.
because there are stacks of cups, and I proceed to I forgot. You don't wait in line to get your yogurt. You wait in line to pay for it. So we could have just gotten the yogurt. Okay, we did it wrong, but it's
But there's
okay.
lots
Maybe there
of-
was
there's
like
lots of
a
toppings.
congestion at the.
Yeah. Okay.
There's
That's
lots of
well.
toppings though for you to
That's
observe.
true. And maybe there was a line at like a popular flavor or something that could happen.
Sure.
Okay, so yes, with that large cup, I then go and look at the different flavors, and I think Skeeta also. Well, you know what? It's a fantasy world. She can have dairy.
All
Right. You can enjoy dairy.
Yeah,
Your
I'll
guts will
enjoy
not try
dairy
to
in
kill
this in this fantasy world.
Yeah.
So she goes for the chocolate hazelnut.
Oh, Lisa is
she-
definitely living out your dreams right now. I can
Yeah, 'cause-
see the glamour exuding off of you right now, Lisa.
Yeah, because chocolate gives me migraines. So yeah, this is
Yeah.
a double no-no.
Yeah.
And
Um,
then she waits for you to choose a flavor.
Okay. I'm going to move for the chocolate hazelnut. Like, how closely do I have to pattern? Like, is this the right answer?
And I just motion to all of them. The world is your oyster.
Which one's oyster?
I
So
don't think they have
unfortunately,
oyster.
all of them were gestured at. So I think we get at least 5 deep pretty quickly. I think we run out of room.
You're doing it right. You're doing it right. Yeah.
I
What is
don't know
Gerard
what
doing?
anything is.
Guerra is just kind of like looking at all these flavors. She's only been in one of these like a handful of times, so she got to sneak away from her family, and is just kind of going for all of the chocolate flavors, like all the different variations, and mixing those all together. And
My
like,
own heart.
Yes. Yes, students. Yes, this is great. Skeeta is off to the side saying this and nodding. You're doing wonderfully, both of you.
Thank you.
I will very primly proceed down the line.
Just
And
following
Gira does
along.
the same. Just as like gracefully as possible, holding this like this not
I snorted.
this pink berry, like, but it's just a chocolate like mountain. Like it's just so much. It's so much frozen yogurt.
A gummy
Just
shark
just-
rolls down my hand. It did not manage to stay in its container.
It's just like, yeah, dripping down. It's a total mess. When you get to the counter, the obviously like the young teenage boy who is ringing you all up is just stone faced. He's like just ringing it up, and he says, "Be $14.50, please."
And I pull out a card and I say, all of theirs and mine are on me.
Types it in. Takes your card, swipes it.
Thank you.
He doesn't even look at you as he hands it back. Thank you.
Thank you kindly. Thank you so very much, sir.
Good day. As we leave, though, if we're heading away from this, like, is it a teenage like boy?
Yes, I'm basically describing to you what we typically see is somebody
Okay.
who is working a job they probably do not want to work. They're doing something they probably do not want to do because we are in a capitalist society and is trying to save up money. And for whatever reason, you are once again encountering a mortal who is doing what they've got to do to survive in a world that's just pushing them to do this, this, and this, and does not care, just goes through the motions of customer service so they can get you away from the counter and go back to mopping. So just stone face, doesn't even make eye contact, takes it, swipes it. Sharp
As Gira
contrast.
passes,
Yeah.
as Gira passes, and if we're leaving, Gira gestures to him, "Here, lad," and then she pulls something out of her purse and like puts it upon the counter. "Get yourself something nice, lad." And she like walks away. It's the $1,000 bill just on the counter, and she just walks and joins the other way.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Is it
Goodness
a real
gracious.
one? Because those do exist as legal tender.
They do. They were
Wait, do they actually
discontinued.
exist? Like,
Yeah,
did I just
discontinued.
know
They
none of
were a
this?
thing.
$1,000
They
bills.
do.
They do exist. They were discontinued, I think, in the early 70s or something, but they do exist. Yes,
Oh, then yes, it's a
they are
legit
legal
one. Her
tender. And
family
they
likes
do
to collect all sorts of.
exist. That okay.
Or maybe it could be like, 10,
wait, remind me.
hundreds.
Hold on, I'm gonna hold on one second because this is amazing because this is gonna have an effect.
If I had this money, I would
$1,000 often does.
Yeah, I've got to look at your character sheet real quick.
Oh, okay.
So bear with me here. Where did you send that to me? Did you send that to me in the email? I think you did, right?
I did, and I should have put
okay.
some into. I put a bunch of resources.
That's what I'm gonna go look at because I want to see
Yep.
how much you just like. I want to see.
Wait,
okay.
I think I needed to put a little more. Oops.
I don't
but I
have your
wanted,
most recent character sheet.
Yeah.
So
maybe I sent you.
Ollie doesn't
yeah,
know
just
this, but
pop
you're
that over to
buying the
me, but-
froyo now.
Yeah, you can say $100 bill. That's fine. That'll
100 bucks?
probably because yeah, if you want to say 1,000, you can, but we'll need to revisit your like resources rating for the month because that is
Okay.
a nice chunk of change, which you can totally do. You can absolutely do that.
She wanted to, but if it
Then
doesn't
do
make
it.
sense for my character, yeah, she did
No,
it. She's
hey.
just like, here's $1,000.
I'm not going to pull that on you. If you think it makes sense for your character and you got the resources rating, fucking do it, Adriana.
She's got the resources.
Okay, you slap down $1,000 bill, which he stares at. It doesn't register for a few moments. All he sees is a dollar bill that looks fake or doesn't look like a dollar bill he has seen before. And when you walk away from him, he's picked it up and is looking at it, but it doesn't look like it's settling in. I'll go ahead and give this to you, Gira, is that what probably happens next is he goes and asks someone's a question, which leads to Google, which leads to, oh my God.
Delayed
And then
blast
which
fireball.
leads, yeah, it's totally a delayed blast fireball.
Yes.
It's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes before he realizes he could probably quit the job now. But a lot of you move outside where there are tables just out front. You can hear gulls overhead. You have the afternoon and a lot of melting yogurt.
Gira has just set upon this chocolate mountain, just like eating it kind of unceremoniously. She's kind of forgotten herself, but also doesn't care and just is enjoying this. The good vibes, the ocean, breeze.
Okay.
All right. So this could obviously go any of a zillion ways. So I think the only right thing to do is to roll a D100.
Do it. Leave it to the dice. Let's see what happens.
And just see where on 0 to adoration I fall with this land dweller food.
Mm.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
7.
Oh no.
Out of 100?
Oh no.
No.
Okay, so Skeeta is
Right.
eating her chocolate hazelnut, and then just like checks in with Giera, and it's like, yes, enjoying it, and then checks in with Holly and says, "Oh no, oh no, you don't like it?"
They take a spoon and they're really trying.
No, it's okay. If you don't like it, you don't have to eat it. We can go get some fish. You like fish better, right?
I hold up one of the gummy sharks. There wasn't a fish.
Oh no. Oops, we went too fast. I think we need to ease them into land food more slowly.
Yeah.
There's an oyster house over there. Oysters?
The world is.
That's right.
And there's all sorts of other places you can go if you're not feeling an oyster.
You have so many different places for food.
Yes, we do.
They're not all in the same place.
No.
You don't go catch them.
Well, some people do. But usually we go to the place that someone who caught it and then sold it to a place to prepare it and then sell it to us. It's a lot of interchange of monetary goods.
And this is your favorite?
It's one of my favorites.
I'm gonna take another bite just because she likes it and try to see what she sees in it. So, tell me about land.
Well, I look at Giera. Well, I mean, what can we tell them about land? Gravity is more. This is
They could
starting weird.
know about the little pockets of water across the lands, the little bowls that hold these unique water worlds. You know, they're called
lakes,
or ponds.
puddles, even.
Puddles as well.
Lots of different receptacles for water.
So you're noble. They moved to the universal language of gossip.
You know what? Okay, so Gira like takes that and just like looks at Skeeta. Oh, I had no idea, Your Majesty, and then like gesturing at Skeeta, just like trying to deflect it as a joke again.
We're not supposed to say that I am. Are we not supposed to say that you are?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I mean, my autumn side is royalty, I guess you could say. But that doesn't matter. Not here, not us. Well, you, but
Royalties. I look to Skeeta like, no, I studied for this. They don't have them on this land. But the autumn ones didn't.
oh no, they're all over. There's a bunch of different ones from the place I come from. All sorts of different rankings, all sorts of different ceremonies, all sorts of different ways to be and ways to appear, and it's great to some. So lakes are great. What did they say?
Oh, I don't know that they got to a fully formed thought yet.
And then like an idea comes across Yara's mind, and she looks at them. Have you ever heard of flying fish? Let me enlighten you. And then like Yara just starts talking about this species of fish that flies, it seems like they fly across the water in the ocean waves, and like tries to distract them from the topic at hand.
I love that I'm fish-splained.
Oh my god, I just fish-splained Merfolk. I'm sorry.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Did
Oh
she
my
know
God.
about the and like
Hashtag
she doesn't
fish-splained.
understand. She's just like trying desperately to not talk about her family and everything.
I think honestly, Holly loves seeing how land dwellers see fish.
Mm.
It's like you see the top of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. These are a normal occurrence to you. Of course. So have you ever had one as a pet?
Well, mostly I'm friends with Kit. And yeah, who's around?
Oh, where is Kit?
Kit is probably under chair. I am in this moment having the realization of like, if I want to check if there's like a creature under my chair.
So
I have
Kit,
legs and can look and check very easily.
Yeah, being your chimerical creature, Kit can appear whenever you want them to be there. So if it's assumed that when they're not creating mischief or jumping up into your lap, that just like your imaginary friend when you were a kid, all you have to do is look over your shoulder and they're there.
So there is a lovely extended hide and seek around the chair as I unsuccessfully attempt to cast Detect Kit.
You're just catching the glimpses of like tufts of fur as you're like trying to find Kit, just as they disappear around a wheel or some such. Dart through the spokes behind your tail and then just.
So, what do you do when you're not eating? I'm gonna try another spoon.
Did you try it? I'm waiting for the reaction.
I think at this point the spoons are getting tinier.
Okay.
You're using the sample spoon.
Just a little bit of
pass it off.
It's maybe the minimum. Like you need to try little bits of it to get used to it first. But what do you do when you don't eat? What do you do?
Well, I have my own business. I run an agency, a talent agency.
What talents?
Well, we have wrestlers, we have gamers, we have extreme sports, we have writers, we have all types of very interesting, unique, talented individuals who we represent. Models, actors.
Skeeta, pardon my interruption. Did you say something about wrestlers?
Yes.
So, people are, oh, what is the branch of wrestlers like in your agency?
Oh, goodness. We have some really great folks. Well, we have Steuben. He's right now he's the world champion.
Is
We
he?
have
Oh,
yeah. We have Shoshona. We have Laserlight.
well. Are they around? I'd love to meet them. I'd love to spar. I mean, do you have any branches of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or judo, perhaps?
I'm sure some of them know those things.
Are
I could
there
definitely
any?
arrange for you to meet some of them.
I would love to. Oh goodness, it's been so long since I've sparred. Probably about 40 hours. I'd love to
Oh,
meet them.
wow.
And is there any sort of like competitions that you send them off to? I'd love to join that.
Do you want to become a professional wrestler? Because I could
I am.
totally represent you. You are
I
already?
already am. Just send me
Wait,
to the contests.
what?
I'd love to go to a competition. I need to just flex my skills, in this new
Okay.
country.
Are you represented?
No, but I just want to go to the competitions, honestly. But I'd love to
I'm your
be
new
considered.
agent. I'm your new agent.
Oh,
No
sure,
question.
sure. Just send me in the way of those competitions. I already can have my, my geese sent over for anything. Just set me up with some of that, and we are good to go.
Amazing. Oh, I can't wait for you to meet all the agents. Wow, this is amazing.
Yes, I'd much rather meet the wrestlers, though, but I will meet the
Oh, yes,
agents
of
as well.
course. Yes. Are you interested in doing some acting work too? Modeling? Any other branching out into the entertainment industry?
No, I'm okay. Just any of that martial arts stuff, I am so down for.
All right then. Wow. Didn't think this would become a business. I can write this off now. My accountant person will be very happy with that. They always tell me, like,
Sure.
you need to write off these things. What? Ugh. Yeah, but they'll be happy.
Okay. Well, thank you. Sorry, and then Yara just like looks at both of y'all. I like to fight. It's just something I've always loved to do. I've been very passionate about, and there's just not. I don't really have a lot of places I could go to back where I'm from. So now that I'm here, I'd love to finally indulge.
It's almost as if the dreaming or just whatever it is just a pure twist of fate, Gira, that as you say this, your cell phone begins to buzz.
Oh, hold on one sec. And Gira
And
just pulls it up.
Mom. You answer the phone. Dorothy. Hello?
Yes, Mom?
Dorothy, are you there?
Yes, Mom.
Where are you right now? I've just called the school. They've told me you're not there.
I'm out on an excursion with some of the fellow students, and they're trying to show me the grounds. That's so quite lovely. Thank you so much, Mother, for sending me out here.
There's a long stretch of silence that for a moment you think maybe you've lost connection. And you can hear your mother exhale for a moment. And she says, Dorothy, you know how I feel about you lying to me. I'm calling you because there are no students out on an excursion right now. There's an orientation taking place. And when roll call was made, it was reported to me that you were not there.
Oh, then they must have taken me in the wrong group or something, because I was led outside into the grounds. There must be multiple groups. There must have been a mistake. I'm so sorry.
Roll. Roll it. You are lying through your teeth. So you're going to need to make a manipulation subterfuge roll. And the difficulty on this is going to be 8.
The difficulty versus lying to moms is like...
You need an 8 or better.
I'm not getting this.
You need an 8 or better on D10s to get this.
May I please use a point
to lower the difficulty? Yes. Do you want to gain an extra die?
To lie.
Yes.
A lie die.
All right, yes.
StreamPunk is giving a lie die.
Lesky too. Thank you so much, Lesky too, for the lie die on behalf of Gira. God.
All right. So
y'all are buying your way through this trouble. All right, go ahead. So add that die and make the roll. The difficulty is 8.
Oh God.
Remember that 1's 8 successes. Did you roll it? 2 successes? You didn't roll any 1s?
No, I didn't roll any 1s.
So there's a moment of quiet where it sounds like you can hear the gears turning, and there's a hot minute, Gira, where you're not sure if mom is buying it. And then after a moment, she says, "You understand why I check in, and you don't. You know what this means to us. You know why we took the actions that we took. It doesn't bring us any pleasure, darling, and you know that I love you dearly, but it's important to us. And it's important for you that this moves forward the way it does. And I just want to make sure that you are getting the most out of your time there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I appear to be somewhat overbearing on this issue, but it is important to me that you succeed."
Of course, Mom, it's fine. I will be fine. I appreciate everything that you're doing to improve me. So, yes, appreciated. I will make sure to be of the utmost best. My best, yes.
Please. There's no need to be droll, dear. Let me know if you need anything. I love you. And
I love you too.
She hangs up as soon as you finish, and
okay. Hey everybody, how are we doing? Are we enjoying our pink berries?
So you're a student. What school?
Yara regards both of you. All right, I trust you both. And Kit here. You should. My parents may or may not have sent me out to California to attend a very, very prestigious. It's like a school of etiquette, you know. There you go there for months to years. They put me in for a year plan. It was
not that place.
Yeah, they're not quite. Look, I do love my mom, but that said, we butt heads a bit, especially with my father and the rest of my family, on how I should conduct myself with family matters and whatnot, and what I should be doing with my life, and what I should be prioritizing, and how I should breathe, and how I should drink and eat, and all this stuff. And then, at this point,
I push the chocolate mountain toward you. I push your chocolate mountain toward you. You need this.
But as you do that, Gyara's just gesturing wildly with her hands, and she accidentally knocks it out of their hands. I don't really want to get too into it with my family, discussing them right now.
I will just say, to commiserate with you, that place is awful. They invited me to a talent showcase there, and the things they have those students do that they think is talent is just embarrassing and atrocious. You are smart to just leave whatever you did today.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I bet it's just it's just a joke, travesty of politeness and etiquette.
Wait,
But
do your parents know that you're a wrestler?
they do, and they really do not want me to pursue that aspect of my life.
Are
At
you
all.
18? How old are you?
I'm almost 30. I need to
Is this a
be
nobility thing? This is a royalty
settling
thing, isn't
down
it?
pretty soon. Yes.
Got it. Okay. I get it
Yes.
now. Oh, I feel really awful that that's your situation. I mean, at first I
I'm
was like,
fine. I'm sorry.
no, at first I was like, wow, she's royalty. There must be so many shiny baubles and jewels that she's gotten her hands on over the years. And I just kept thinking about the shiny things you must have. You must have so many pretty shiny things that you don't even have to steal. But now I feel like bad. This sucks.
No. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's just frustrating. I'm living quite an easy, privileged life. Like I'm okay.
But wait, listen. Even if your life is good in other ways, it can still suck in other ways. It's okay.
Yeah. Things have been quite interesting, but
So you don't want to swim with this school?
swim?
Oh, school fish.
Oh no. Okay. This school.
Our schools
If
are
I
a
am
little
to
bit
swim with
different.
this.
Oh, I was just saying our schools are a little bit different than what you might be
Yes.
used to, Holly.
Well, of course.
I
You
don't know how
really
to.
swim.
This school, if I were to swim with this school, I would lose. I mean, there would probably be some pretty nice people there, but I would start to lose all semblance of who I am. And
Like the coldness.
yes.
Everybody make a perception alertness roll, please,
Oh no.
while you're having this conversation.
Yes.
The difficulty is 6.
Okay. Perception.
Oh no.
Yes. Right now, Holly's like, school?
1, 2, 3.
Hey, I was working through the vibes. I had it there.
Mm-hmm,
All right.
Mm-hmm.
How'd we do, Skeeta? How'd we do? 0. Okay. Is it a
3
botch or is it just zeros? Just a 0.
Just a 0 because
Okay.
I'm only rolling 1 die.
Okay. All right. So Skeeta, you as the conversation is happening, the two of you kind of it's one of those things where it's an engaging conversation, so there's a bit of an overlap as y'all are excitedly talking to each other and correcting the very charming ignorance of this adorable merfolk who you've welcomed into your ranks. As the conversation keeps pushing forward a little bit, and just kind of like it was in the docks, you start to notice that there is a noise that you've been hearing, but you haven't been paying attention to. But it starts to finally break through at the conversation as y'all are having it. It sounds like someone is crying, like choking sobs. And it doesn't take but a hot moment with your successful rolls to look in the direction to see what looks like a young woman who is sitting on one of the park benches of the roundabout that faces out towards the sea. She is probably mid-20s, looks very well done up, like very pristine, and like wearing a nice set of like slacks. She has a button-up shirt. She looks like she is dressed very nicely. And she has what looks like a suitcase or bags next to her, like she's on a trip or something, but she's sitting there. Her hair is tied back, but her makeup is streaking down her face like she's been at this for a few minutes. And her hand is covering her mouth, and she's like pulling tissues out of her purse, like she's trying her hardest not to attract attention, not wanting anybody to see what's happening. But what's particularly interesting about this is you're pretty sure you recognize her, Gira. You think you may have seen her at the school a few hours ago at the orientation crowd. She looks like one of the faces that you spotted in the crowd. It's hard to say because you were just kind of scanning, but she does seem to be someone you spotted at least.
Yera's gonna approach her.
So you stop in mid-conversation and set down your spoon, and you see Gitter just get up from the table and begin to like cross the street over in her direction.
If you were to swim with the school,
having no idea what's happening.
Before I like make my way over there, I let them know I kind of recognize this person. I think they were actually at the school I was at. I'll be right back. Hold on 1 second. And so Giara's going to make her way over to them.
1 fishy fishy, 2 fishy fishy, 3 fishy fishy, 4 fishy fishy. Right behind you.
Yes, following.
Okay, the three of you approaching this woman who's trying to not be noticed right now. She's crying. She sees you all approaching. And there's a little bit of surprise in her face as she starts to putting her stuff away. And as you seem to be beelining for her, she looks nervously at you all as she's wiping her face.
Hey,
and then you see, when you say, hey, you see that sort of click of recognition, like she may have spotted you too, Gira, because she kind of looks at you for a moment and she goes, I know you, right?
Yeah, I swear we met at the Imogen, the school just down the way.
She exhales, says, and then like looks away, like rolls her eyes away from you for a moment and says, sorry, I have to go. She reaches down and starts getting her bags and says, I don't belong here. And
what do you mean?
She puts her bags up and looks both ways like she's getting ready to cross the street for a moment. It's just a car pulls by.
It's okay. We don't belong here either. Yeah, where do you want to go?
If you're trying to get her to engage and not leave.
Yeah.
If you're taking point on this, Holly, it's going to be this would probably... This is probably a manipulation check. So I would say this is a...
How do we like trying to catch her eye and catch enough of her attention to refocus her? What I'm saying...
Well, just as a straight up roll, this is going to be a manipulation empathy roll.
Yeah, to
try to like get her attention to pause for a minute.
Of all of the social checks, is one of my worst. Not my worst. 1, 2, 3. Aha! Mark of the beast. Mark of the beast roll. Let's go. 3 6s.
3 6s.
Yes.
Wow. It's enough. There's enough innocence in your question that she lets her guard down for a split second, despite maybe her instincts to just get the hell out of here. This is weird. And she really did not want to be talking to anybody. It's enough though that she drops her guard for a second to be vulnerable with you, Holly. For whatever reason, you invoke that in her just from the way you ask, very like, where else would you go? She stops and looks at you and then glances over at you, Dorothy, and just says, I don't know. I'm supposed to be here, but I don't belong here. I wasn't meant for this school.
It's okay to feel that way. That school is awful. I'm sorry you had to be sent there. Are you going back there?
When you say that, I'm just going to let you all know for the rest of the scene, your difficulty to engage with her has dropped by 1. As you say, it's awful. She just kind of...
Yeah.
She wipes her face and she says, the dean is awful. Oh my God. Oh my God.
What?
Sorry, Eric, the storyteller, just realized that he named that awful dean his full name. It just occurred to me. His full name is Everett Kane, but his title is Dean Kane.
Ah! I thought you were gonna say you named him after an actual awful.
No, I just realized I did actually. It just like it just come together into just an awful name. So she just says, the dean. He's awful. He said terrible things to me. He was awful to the other students too. Like, I don't know. How do you teach? How are you a dean of a school of etiquette when you're so rude to people?
Well, my dear. Let's just say it's all a show from the ground up. I don't know why you were sent there, but let's just say this place is it's just for show. You learn the basics, sure. You're gonna have to navigate a bunch of I don't know how to put this lightly. A bunch of people that are just unsavory, and however outwardly that they are, and they're going to teach you how to outwardly also be very proper. But there's nothing wrong with not wanting to be there or finding somewhere else to be. I ditched that place hours ago. Seems like you are doing the same thing right now.
She's listening to you. You can tell that she's engrossed in what you're saying, and you seem to have her attention. Again, she's let her guard down. And despite the fact that 3 strangers have just approached her, one who's still kind of familiar, but still somebody she doesn't know, she's done a remarkable job, especially thanks to Holly, staying engaged with the 3 of you, despite the fact that her instinct is telling her to get the hell out of here. And so she's listening to you and nodding along. And the 3 of you, I'm going to ask the 3 of you to make a roll using your kenning skill. Perception plus kenning, please.
Okay. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 successes?
Yeah, because I rolled a 10. I rolled 1 10, and then everything else was 6 and above, or 7 and above.
You know that 10s don't count as 2 successes, right?
Oh, it doesn't?
No, they only count as 2 successes if you have a specialty.
Oh,
if you have a specialty,
right.
10s count as
bad.
2 if you're using the specialty. Otherwise,
And I'm
they're
not
just a
using my.
success.
So then I
It's
have 5 successes on 5 dice.
That's still a phenomenal success. That's like rolling a 20. That's phenomenally well done. So yes.
Nice.
I got none.
Yeah. No successes. Okay. And
I
how
got
did
4.
you 4? Okay. So
Out of 5.
So Holly is just seriously just like, I want to help. Kind of just like, I'm just as curious as I am concerned. Like, what's going on? Totally just not really catching on to what's happening around, because it makes sense. Holly is very much sort of just
No context, just vibes.
exactly like school, whatever. Like, I don't know what's going on. Skeeta, as you're sitting here listening, like the 2 of you very interested in probing to find out like what is the deal here. You see a mortal who's in distress and is clearly heartbroken and feeling like that crushing sense of depression and worthlessness wash over them. And as they're listening to Gera, you can get a sense that what Gera is saying is starting to slowly open her up a little bit. She's starting to, maybe this person understands what I'm going through. And I'm so happy to hear somebody else say the school is bullshit. Because you get the impression, at least from the conversation as you're talking to her, on some level, Gera, she kind of reminds you of you. She probably doesn't want to be here. I mean, flip side is you found a reason to stick around, if nothing else. But for the most part, she probably wasn't. You're getting the impression that it probably wasn't her idea to come to the school. And it's being exasperated by somebody who is apparently being very cruel to her. And as she is saying this, the 2 of you, having successfully rolled that kenning check, suddenly feel this stirring of glamour around you. and you see a darkness sort of pass over her face for a moment. And she just looks like, I can't be here right now. She just grabs up her bags and runs into the street, almost stepping in front of an oncoming car that slams on the brakes and is an inch away from hitting her. The guy in the driver's seat, what the fuck is wrong with you? And she just dashes across the street.
Chaser. We all chase, yes.
As you're waiting for the car to pass by to chase, the two of you see stepping out from a shadow, like a living shadow. You both watch as this thing emerges, following in lockstep behind her, tethered to her. Like you just see this tendril of shadow linking it to her. And it changes shape as it steps out. It's almost like Peter Pan's shadow walking out of the shadow of a tree, stepping out into human form. It just assumes the exact mannerisms that she has. It's kind of shifts down from this bulky, shadowy form into her form, and you watch as it becomes a shadowy version of her, an exact duplicate. Motioning, going through the things, fearfully looking around as she kind of tries to make her way out of this place as quickly as possible. With that many successes on your kenning checks, what you see is a chimerical nightmare. A chimerical being made manifest by the negative emotions, probably brought on by insecurities or doubts or depressions or downright just verbal abuse, whatever it is. It's a manifestation of this darkness that you see. Like, you're not sure if she is feeding it or if it is a manifestation from her or where it's coming from, but you can see it just stalking after her, stomping and like moving out of the way. And the two of you, Holly, are just now seeing your friends, like all of this happening in front of you. It's a just explosion of stimuli as the two of them just suddenly charge across the street, chasing after her. And at that point, you don't see necessarily what they see, but it does look like somebody's following her very closely behind before she starts to vanish into a crowd of people. And two of you are going to charge after her.
Yes.
You wait till the traffic moves aside. Holly, I'm guessing you're following in turn.
May I hopscotch the traffic?
You can, but be aware you are out in the autumn world. So if you want to hopscotch the traffic, you can do it. The mists will make sense of what just happened. Mortals will be like, oh yeah, okay. But because that is an art that is calling upon the weird, you have to spend a point of glamour to use it.
Okay.
No matter what. So you burn a point of glamour to activate that, and then you are going to have to roll against the banality rating of the place around you to activate your fey magic.
All right.
So
what does my chair roll?
Well, we refer to the arts. Your chair isn't necessarily rolling here. This is literally your fey magic propelling you across the way. So you're using, first of all, we got to do a couple of things. You're using the realms that you're trying to do. So you're using this on yourself to hopscotch. So the realms that you are going to use, let me pull open that rad cheat sheet, which is on Drive-Thru-RPG, sponsor us. I'm just like, hey, sponsor us. So what you're going to do is, okay, so you are using, this is going to be Fey 1. You would be using, okay, I'm going to say you're using Fey and, oh, you know what? No, this is going to be, you're using this on your chair. So this is going to be prop.
I mean, my chair's using it because my chair has treasure rank 1 in Wayfair.
That's true. Oh, your chair's using it. So that you're going to roll the realm prop. However many dots you have in prop.
Okay.
Plus your Wayfair rating.
Okay, cool.
And the difficulty here, now let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, you can lower the difficulty by default if you are willing to perform a bunk.
Easy clap.
So just to explain what this is for everybody watching at home. You can lower the banality rating in an area if you do something silly or something inspired or whatever. This is an opportunity for the players to do whatever they want to Describe how they break through the disbelief or cynicism of the world and make their magic happen. And that could be anything from, I'll give you an example. One of the ways you could lower the banality rating of an area around you by using a bunk, one of the examples given, a loud burp. Another one is a spontaneous monologue, photobombing a group picture, burning a dollar bill, stuffing a whole cheeseburger into your mouth. These are all bunks that for a split second cause mortals in the area around you to go, what did you just do? Kind of like snaps them out of the malaise that we experience in everyday life. And it causes the banality rating in the area just to drop. Now, the banality rating on all cantrips that you're trying to perform, they start at 8. And that's where we're going to start with this one. So.
We're crossing a street, so I'm going to take hold of the cross button street sign pillar. I'm going to wind up both myself and my magic by swinging around it, pushing off it the opposite of the yoink that I had to grab Kit earlier. So push off the side of it so I can get onto one wheel and then hop from that.
Okay. I'll say that's I'll say you went into a bit of a descriptor on that. So I'll say that's sort of like I like that because that's sort of like a stunt maneuver on the chair. So I'm going to say I'll give that a negative. Yeah, I'll say that's a -1 to the bunk. So I'll drop the difficulty down to 7 just for that.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So spend a point of glamour, roll the dice.
1 success.
1 success is all you needed. You barely succeed. You push through. What's curious about this for you, Holly, is this is the first time you've used your magic outside the sea, where you can use that magic to just launch yourself through the waves and into the air and touch passing seagulls. What's startling to you is using it here, you feel the banality push back against you. By barely succeeding, you can feel that crushing disbelief of the world trying to swallow that magic and make it not possible, not something that you can do. It pushes back what should have been easy, you barely achieve. And you all watch as Holly bounds literally just across the street in one single go, just touching down. And you've cleared half the distance easy as you launch yourself and are now at the point just behind her. You're not going to lose her into the crowd now because of this. The mists that mortals walk through every single day, unaware of the dreaming that's happening around them, they just don't turn and look at Holly. Just doesn't occur to them. Or their minds rationalize it and they see somebody just in time, turning to look just in time as they see a chair user just kind of bop down onto the curb like they just ramped up onto the curb. And they don't think much of it for more than a second. And they continue about their day, unaware that something miraculous just happened right in front of them. So, Holly, you now have point. You see her charging off into the crowd with this chimerical, nightmarish creature of agony just stalking behind her, shapeshifted into her form. And you can hear your 2 Motley mates right behind you coming up on.
I'm going to chase and make a window.
Mm-hmm.
You know they give too much room.
Okay.
So that my Motley mates can have eyes on me and a clear path through, so we can all chase together.
So you Sam DeLev through the crowd?
I mean,
excuse me, please.
Holly is not as aggressive. I think Holly's a little nicer than I am.
Yeah. Hey, you do what you gotta do. Get the hell out of the way, bipeds.
But they also have their own making themselves known in a space. I think they have a certain level of entitlement to space.
Okay.
That is taught by not having sidewalks in the ocean.
With Holly taking point on this, 2 things. First of all, you can clearly see Holly taking point because their tail is just visible to the 2 of you just plainly. You can see their glittering scales underneath the afternoon sun as they're pushing through the crowd. Holly's basically parting the sea. You're able to keep up and follow after them, as well as this woman that has just charged through the crowd. You can tell she is completely distraught, and the two of you, with that incredible amount of successes on that roll, you get a sense that she is not fully conscious of what she is doing. She is under the influence of glamour, almost like magic has taken hold of her. The dreaming, this darker aspect of this nightmarish chimerical creature of the dreaming has hold of her. And you can feel the negative emotions swirling around her, self-loathing and doubt. This Dean was right about her. You see she's wiping her face, and Holly, as you're getting close to her, this thing that's behind her, you can see she is once again about to walk right out into oncoming traffic, unaware of what she's doing. And the world around her is oblivious. Just another crying person. Nobody pays any attention. You are within reach of the shadowy form. And at that point, Gera, your other two Motley mates will have caught up to you, because it's literally her about to step off the curb into what looks like oncoming traffic as people are, she's heading towards a big crosswalk.
Do either me or Gera know from our kenning roll how to get rid of this thing? Or even just innately sense how to get rid of this
No,
thing?
that would be
I
a
know what I want to
Greymare
do.
roll.
I'd
Greymare,
love to roll Greymare
if you have a Greymare rating, or if you want to try to make it. So kenning is like your changeling eyes, like your ability to sense and see glamour at work, or the dreaming in play. Greymare is like your lore, your knowledge of the dreaming, like ancient spells and legends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So go ahead and make your Greymare check if you got it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. And then what else? Just Greymare or anything with it?
It's intelligence of Greymare.
All right. That just gives me one more. Here we go. No ones, please. No ones. No ones. I have 1, 2, 3 successes. Oh,
damn.
I'm on fire tonight.
It's impossible to tell whether she's created this thing or this thing is just feeding on her. Nightmare chimera typically feed on mortals who are it's just like an evil leech that kind of latches on to a mortal who is, if you are depressed or something, it comes in and makes it worse by feeding on it, and it just kind of creates this downward spiral.
It's too real. Oof.
I mean, it's and it typically it is by our own make, and it's so hard to break free from. You can see that this thing is latched onto her like an umbilical cord attached, like this tendril of shadow. You do notice, though, that in this rare instance, it seems to be perfectly mirrored lockstep with her. It's possible that if you grab the thing, she'll respond.
Okay. I'd love to dive for it and try to tackle it or something.
I think it's fair to say that all three of you are about to try this, correct? Because I think,
Yes.
what are you going to do, Holly? Because Holly, you were there first because you used that art.
I'm the closest, and she's about to step out into traffic. I'm always faster. I want to get out into traffic first and be big and extremely visible and flashy and get them to break. I know.
Okay. So this is all happening all at once.
Okay.
All right. Here's what's going to happen. In that brief, precious moment, both you, Skeeta, and Gera see it. You're reaching out. Your hand is reaching, about to make contact before you make this roll to find out if you're able to grab this thing. Gera, you are right on top with the same instinct to try to grab hold of whatever, and the two of your the breath catching your throat as you see this newly charged friend of yours, a member of the Motley, the one that has been put into the care of this Motley by the Baron, a noble from under the waves, as they push past, roll at incredible speed, just right past her into oncoming traffic and get big and loud. Just as you see one of these large trucks, a UPS truck, slam on the brakes. And that is where we are going to
Eric?
pause
Eric.
tonight's game.
I will kill you. Eric, I kill you.
My.
Eric.
Are you kidding? No!
I knew it. I was like, at any moment.
Sam did this to you.
Oh.
No, you did.
Sam called upon nightmare for all of you. That is where we're going to leave tonight's game. This has been the second chapter of the Barony of Olives. Thank you for joining this evening as we dive deeper into the dreaming, as the story begins to unfold, as more things are starting to come into play. Now all of the pieces are on the board and we've met our Motley. Join us next week for chapter 3. Thank you so much, dreamers, for joining us again. Sweet dreams.